You've heard they're taking it straight around the country, in the words of Digital Underground, all the way around the world. Illegal aliens, ICE has been executing operations in Los Angeles. They've been scooping up people, folks sitting at the Home Depot, waiting to go to work that day. And it's like, come on over here. We got a different van for you to jump into today. Folks are shook. They've taken to the streets. President Trump has sent out the Marines. He's taken over the California National Guard. They're grabbing anyone and everyone. They're taking the fight directly to them. It's been a rough time out there. It's been a rough time. And, before I get heavy off tonight's program, I would like to do a little bit of housekeeping here. And just a reminder to everyone exactly where we stand on this issue. You see, before the election of 2024, people's attitudes were radically different now, weren't they? But I couldn't help but notice since they started rounding people up, I ain't hearing all of that Akata talk. What? Did y'all notice that? I'm not hearing all that smart mouth, you no good, lazy black Americans talk. I have y'all been hearing a bunch of that? Because far as I can tell, it's done got real quiet all of a sudden. All that disrespectful talk and all those disrespectful tones and all that capping and jaw-jacking, all of a sudden folks is trying to stay out the way and laying low and dipping down and they ain't got a whole lot to say. I just couldn't help but notice that was on the menu now. I couldn't help but notice it done got real quiet on the disrespectful front. Why, you can't find nobody really to come smart off at you. Everything is, we got to stick togethers and, we's all one's peoples. And all of a sudden, it's about white supremacy. All of a sudden, the George Zimmerman supporters and the Fox News viewers and the Daniel Penny supporters and the Donald Trump supporters. What? Damn! Oh, y'all, it's getting heavy. It's getting super heavy. And all I can say is this is good. This is good. Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia is just one example. There's been a whole bunch of folks out there trying to figure out how to walk it backwards. Ryan Garcia had to take to Twitter this week and say, I may have voted for Trump, but I can't stay silent about what's happening with ICE in LA. These aren't just illegals or statistics, they're people. Ryan Garcia is begging and pleading. Ryan Garcia is trying to walk that backwards and the comment section is eating him up. The comment section is eating him up like neck bones. It's terrible to be him right now. And this is what I love about the internet era, because everybody who wants to sit up here and express their racism, go and be shoulder and shoulder white supremacy, and don't worry, we're the buffer class. They're gonna look out for us. Long as we're their henchmen, they gonna look out for us. All of y'all had to be on the record. You can't walk it backwards. You can't claim you didn't say it. All of you are on the record, and now all of you are fleeing for cover. But it's too late. Ain't nowhere to hide. You can't find a zaddy lover. You can't find a chick with a Confederate flag. You can't find none of that. I'm not black, I'm Latina. Damn. Where are the I'm not black, I'm the Latinas?
Oh, please.
You can't find none of them right now, can you? Nobody trying to hyphenate their names right now. Oh, they're not hitting you with the black hyphenated or the hyphenated black. They ain't hitting you with that one, are they? Oh, what a difference one election can make. And all I can say right now is, President Trump, if you got an 18-wheeler, do you need a fleet of Greyhounds? It's all good today. It's all good today because it was all good a year ago. Need I remind you all that 4 years ago, the bastard Biden, Joe the Biden bastard, sat up there and told people, black folk, you gonna have to put aside what you want and you need to get behind Latinos. Y'all, if you were over there in Latino land and you believed him, I'm just here to bring you to the light of day that old bigot Biden lied to you. My Latinos, you better get behind black people.
And deal with it.
I came here to make the announcement that it's a new day, or better yet, it's the same day it's been. And a helpful reminder here, y'all better get behind black people, particularly the freedmen and the foundation. Y'all better get behind them if you're looking for a brighter day. If you're looking for a brighter day, you're going to have to get behind our program. That's the only way it's going to happen. Them folk lied to you. They put you in a trick bag. If you fell for the bait, all I'm saying to you now is, well, it's a brand new day. They lied to you, so you better get behind the black agenda. You better get behind the black agenda, because I'm taking a look out there, I'm taking a look around, and I'm saying to myself, you know, if you weren't taking the situation seriously before, you got to start taking the situation seriously now. It ain't no joke. It ain't no joke, but it's incumbent on me to give a friendly reminder in light of the events as they are unfolding. Oh, you know the words. Stand up and sing. In the back, in LA, Miami, Newark, Philadelphia, El Paso, Dallas, Kansas City. Oh, Manuela Garcia, Gomez, Gonzalez. Everybody in the bunch. Everybody in the back. Load up the kids. Okay, too soon? Oh, you know what time it is. Oh, yes, brothers and sisters. I got to take that copyright strike. I got to take that copyright strike tonight. Ordinarily, you know, on YouTube, you try to avoid it, but I got to take that copyright hit tonight. Got to do that. Got to do it. All right, brothers and sisters from around the world, there's some folks out there who are hella mad, hella big mad, and we're going to give them a whole lot more here to get big mad about, because everybody is trying to convince you that that the black citizens, the descendants of the slaves, the foundation that laid all this, that everybody's trying that trick again, that we need to be worried. I mean, it is ridiculous, it is shameless, it's embarrassing, and they're trying to claim that we need to be worried. Case in point, of course, the gift that keeps on giving, rolling the bowling ball Martin. Shaking in his boots, ain't nothing working for him. He wants you all to know that black folk, you is going to be the target. If you don't stand up for illegals, you're going to be the target. He has the headline down there, foreign trade, confirms 2,500 Jamaicans deported from the U.S. 2,500 Jamaicans deported. Now, he plays this lady here, by the way.
500 have been confirmed for removal. It is now our understanding that approximately 2,500 have been confirmed for removal over a period of time.
I'm sure this is one of Marcus Garvey's grandchildren up here.
Over a period of time to be determined by logistics, their own legal processes, and other factors.
She emphasized that deportations are not a new development and reaffirms the government's commitment to upholding its international obligations while ensuring national security and public safety. She also noted that the government has expanded the national reintegration and rehabilitation strategy to better coordinate support services for returning deportees.
Okay, well, I mean, Jamaica welcomes you back. What's the issue? Jamaica welcomes you back. So, of course, he gets on here and he's talking to this one dude up here. And this fella right here, y'all, I mean, some people just have a total lack of self-awareness.
It's going to create an even more dangerous situation for them. So I would like to, definitely hear more about who is being deported and what kind of legal process is being followed, because what we know about this administration is that they don't care anything about the rule of law.
Nigga, what?
People, you're illegal aliens. Talking about the rule of no respect for the rule of law. You're here illegally. You deliberately, consciously broke the law to come here and got the nerve to talk about rule of law. The most lawless niggas in the room want to lecture people all of a sudden about rule of law. You want to talk about being a living, walking, talking joke. But believe it or not, this guy here, as ridiculous as he is, you ain't heard nothing yet. Wait till you hear their next guest. And I'm going to let this play like it originally was. Wait till you hear the next guest on here.
A more dangerous situation for them. So I would like to, definitely hear more about who is being deported and what kind of legal process is being followed, because what we know about this administration is that they don't care anything about the rule of law.
Zachary?
They're ignoring the courts. They are ignoring court orders to cease and desist with what they're doing and go through the appropriate and proper channels that have been created by our government to protect all American citizens. So they're ignoring that, and there's no consequence being faced to it. So I'm horrified for my friends that are first generation, who are born in the United States, but who may have an accent or who may look a certain way or who may live in a particular community. When we saw immediately upon Donald Trump becoming the 47th president of the United States, the mass deportations of our brown brothers and sisters, I knew that it was only a matter of time before this would creep out to impact our brothers and sisters of the African diaspora, and it would then come hard and heavy against those communities. And then we start with our brown brothers. Then we're going to go to our black brothers and sisters of the diaspora. Then they're going to come for us. And we are the ultimate target all along. And
Nigga, please. Nigga, what?
Nigga, what? Nigga, please. Yeah, this is how pathetic they are. You know they're going to come for us, right? You know they're going to do that, right? I mean, some people are just so used to being pathetic liars that they just sit up here and say this stuff. They're used to just looking stupid. So, you know they're going to come for us, right? We is the ultimate targets. We is the ultimate targets of it here. Well, you know we going to be next, right? Y'all better stand up when you know we going to be next. So some of you might have thought I was exaggerating. Oh, hell no. The old black media and rolling the bowling ball, they're here to tell you, you better stand up for illegals because they're going to come for us. They really mean for us, not him. But yeah, they're going to come for us. Yeah, because we're the same as illegals, right? We're the same as illegals, right? So it is all hands on deck right now. Case in point, Joy Reid. I know you all figured you'd never have to hear from that again. Someone at the Griot went and called her for some insane, banal reason. I can't possibly imagine why, but Joy Reid wants you to know that she urges Black Americans to stay engaged amid immigration crackdown and political fatigue. Joy Reid reminds Black people that things like immigration impact us too, because, quote, when America catches a cold, Black folks catch pneumonia. So Joy Reid would like for us all to be aware that, once again, you better support illegals because they's comings for yous. You have to support non-citizens because they're coming for you. She said, I think number one, we should be informed. Step one is we need to understand what's going on there. We do understand. It doesn't help you to completely tune out. I know there's a temptation when the bad things are happening to just kind of go dark and say, I'm only going to watch Tubi and I'm not going to pay any attention. I'm going to watch The Housewives and I'm going to forget everything else. You have the right to watch The Housewives and watch Tubi. You should enjoy your life, but you need to remain informed because what you don't want is to have these things hit you like you walked into the street and got hit by a Mack truck. What is she talking about? What's going to hit us? She emphasized that these policies, even if they seem to target others, let me deal with that first. Let me deal with that right quick, y'all. Let me take a break and deal with that right quick. You see, the bait and switch language is usually when we talk about what Black folks supposed to get and, quote, civil rights and anti-discrimination. You've always been led to believe that they're going to address their victimization against Black people, specifically descendants of the slaves. That's what we always get taught. But then they put everybody else first. LGBT, illegal aliens, white women, they always put everybody else first. Well, for once now, everybody else is getting first, and we like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, y'all get that. You all want to get priority all the time. You're going to get some priority now. Now they're saying they don't want priority. They want us to jump into it. Now, they have made a practice of excluding us. Every time they get something, we're always excluded. They make a point to distinguish themselves from us, which is why we have been delineating, because they made it a point to distinguish themselves. These groups that Trump is going after, they have made it a point for the last 40 years to distinguish themselves from us. Now we just saying, you know what? Ride with that. Now they're all saying, wait, where you going? Where you going? Where you going? And we're like, no, you gonna handle that. You gonna handle that. All of y'all, you want to deal with this stuff without us? Yeah, you gonna have to deal with it without us now. She emphasized that these policies, even if they seem to target others first, will eventually affect Black communities because, as the African proverb goes, when America catches a cold, Black folks catch pneumonia. Okay, do they ever explain how this is going to affect us? They just keep telling you it's going to affect you and never tell you how. ICE raids are increasing across the country, with law enforcement stopping and detaining those they deem, quote, suspicious. This has led to U.S. citizens being detained for days or even weeks while their citizenship is verified. U.S. citizens, they keep lying about that kind of thing and saying U.S. citizens as if they're picking up Leroy Jenkins. That kind of unchecked enforcement impacts not just Black immigrants, but also Black Americans, especially when immigration status checks are riddled with bias. Now, listen to what they say next, folks. Okay, here's your numbers of the riddled with bias. According to a 2023 survey, only 34% of Black Americans hold a valid passport. Why do we got to go somewhere else? Okay, let's talk about that for a moment. Where are we going? We already in the flyest place in the world. What you talking about? Everybody's fighting to get where we at and talking about you don't got a passport. Where the hell we going? Everything else is a downgrade. Where we at is popping. Where we're at is fly. So use a passport for what? Where are we going? Like there's some better place that's more popping than what we built here. What are you talking about? We already at the top of the mountain. You know, you passport for something. Well, I got to go visit the downgrade. No, I'm good. We're good. A University of Maryland study also found that people of color, people of color are more likely than white people, 8%, to lack documentary proof of citizenship. By the way, what percentage of the black population today is now immigrant? Damn! By the way, one more time, what percentage of the black population today is quote unquote immigrant? See, they when they snuck that in there, that's what make you think they're talking about you. Wait a minute, hold on now. Meaning they either do not have or cannot easily access these documents if needed. Who the hell can't verify their citizenship if you're black? Who the hell can't? These gaps can make black communities more vulnerable in an increasingly aggressive immigration system and policing. Can. They keep trying to invoke this non-existent boogeyman and can't show you a single thing that's happening. Not a single one. Quote, the things that are happening that you think are only going to happen to brown migrants or the foreigners or the people who work in the federal government only, they're coming for us because they always do, Reid continued. She can't tell you how. So all this boy who cried wolf still trying to lie to you. They just keep inferring something's going to occur, but they never tell you what the threat to us is. They never tell you what it is, because it ain't there. But I'm not done. Not done here, folks, because they want you to know. NewsOne wants you to know, dear black folks, they want you to know the protests against ICE are absolutely our fight too. This is NewsOne. You want to talk about the old, dead black media? You want to talk about old, dead black media? NewsOne. The only way I got this article was with a Ouija board. But I want to show you what they were talking about here, and I want you to understand something. This is NewsOne now. NewsOne. And take a look at what they have on this article. Mexican flags. Foreign flags. This is NewsOne. I want to say something right now, and I want to say this in no uncertain terms. You have a whole bunch of compromised Negroes. No, let me see exactly what I mean. You got a bunch of compromised niggas who don't really have any real job skills or any real, useful life skills. So they either go off on Instagram shaking their butt cheeks or they become writers, so-called quote unquote writers, because they don't actually have, upward mobility financially. But you got a whole bunch of folk who are compromised. And so they go off writing articles with their illegal alien lover next to them in bed, or because they have a fetish for something, and then they come back and try to sell their fetish to the rest of us. They got a hankering and a taste for something, and so what they do when they finish bed winching and bed bucking is then they get up and they come try to sell us on their fetishes. See, they're okay with that because they've always been the odd man out amongst us. So they've receded into the muck and the grime and the filth. And then they bring themselves back out to come tell us that, I'm one of y'all, and this is what we really need to be about. Over here. Y'all worry about no black agenda. You really need to be worried about this over here. Now, I want to show you what this writer here said. This Stacy Patton. I want to show y'all what she said here. As you can see on the screen, she's happy to show the Mexican flags. This is NewsOne now. This is NewsOne. As Donald Trump sparks chaos by illegally deporting troops to Los Angeles. Lie. Not true. As immigration raids intensify and as protesters are, grammar notwithstanding, are flooding the streets to demand dignity for migrants, far too many black folks are sitting back on social media platforms singing a tired, familiar song. Now, this is a ostensibly black female who wrote this article, by the way. You can look up Dr. Stacy Patton on Twitter if you'd like to. Looks like Ava DuVernay. But she's here to lecture you and wag her finger in your face. Didn't wag it to anybody else, no Latinos, no whites. She's here to wag it in your face. Far too many black folks sitting back on social media platforms singing a tired, familiar song. It's being sung off key with a false sense of safety and a dangerous misunderstanding of how white supremacist violence works. And the folks she's defending have been some of the chief promoters of, you guessed it, white supremacy. Quote, black folks need to stay home. So if you were wondering if these people are Democrat plants, if you were wondering if these people were plants from the Democrat Party, now you know. Oh, they're all over the place. Quote, let them handle it. This is their fight. Most Latinos voted for this mess. ICE don't target us. We've got citizenship. Where's the lie? I ain't marching for nobody who won't march for me. Where's the argument against that? Latinos don't like us anyway. But what's really being said underneath all that deflection is this. If they come for Latinos, I'll be quiet as long as they leave me and mine alone. Well, that's what all these other folks said about us. If you study history, I mean really study history, y'all. Did she say that? If you study history, I mean really study it. Either you studied it or you didn't. Then you should already know that they never leave us alone, not for long. So this is the best she could do. I get it. Black folks are tired. We've carried the weight of first of all, I'm not tired. Speak for your damn wore out lazy self behind your computer screen. I'm not tired, baby. I'm fully rested, energized, ready to put boots to asses for me and mine. I'm not tired at all. Tired? Who the hell you talking about? That's that feminist talk right there. Tired me ass. I'm bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I'm ready to roll. I'm ready to roll all night. I'm not worried about nothing. What's she talking about? Tired. We've bled, we've died, and we've been betrayed. I wonder who the we is she referring to. We've shown up over and over only to be met with anti-blackness in return. But this ain't about who likes us. What?
Oh, please.
Oh, please. Do y'all see who they get to write these articles? And this is the best argument that they can come up with. The Democrats, it doesn't matter if you're being attacked. You need to help folk who attack you because it doesn't matter if you're not getting anything. She's literally saying that it doesn't matter what you're getting or what you're not getting. It's not about who likes you. Okay, it's about who respects us, and we ain't got that either. It's all about who likes us and who respects us. Yeah, it's all about that. That's what it's all about. So these are people who swear to you they're not religious and they're not fundamentalist Christians, but they sure are trying to sell you on the turn the other cheek thing. It ain't about who ain't, ma'am. Aren't you a doctor or what? Not a doctor of grammar. This ain't about who likes us. It's about who's next. Remember those words. What ICE is doing to migrants, you mean illegal aliens, isn't just an immigration issue. Yes, it is. It's white supremacist violence at its core. They haven't killed anybody. Sean Bell, Walter Scott, Eric Garner, they haven't killed anybody. What are you talking about? It's separating families. Actually, they were separated at the border when they sent their kids over by themselves. They did that. It's state violence.
Oh, please.
It's stalking and snatching people from homes and workplaces and making them disappear. That's new. It's caging children. They've been arresting our children. And for black folks in America, this should all feel deeply familiar. The white supremacist machine of state violence doesn't make distinctions based on citizenship status. Okay, but we do. But we do. And you haven't said a damn syllable out your dripping, flipping lips about why we're supposed to go caping for non-citizens. Where's the benefit to us? Ain't said a word about it, because these will be the exact same people within 5 years who, after they got their refugee assistance, debit cards, free health care, free schooling for their kids, free housing assistance, they will come back in 5 years and swear up and down on a stack of Bibles that they did it, pulled themselves up by their bootstraps, and built it all by themselves. They will swear up and down, if you come back to them in 10 years, they will swear they didn't get an ounce of help, that they didn't get a penny of assistance. These will be the same folk who will come back in 10 years and swear up and down that they got it because they worked hard and they got every scrap of bread that they got by themselves, that they came over here with nothing, and they did more with nothing than you've done in 300-400 years. Now that's what they're gonna say. The same folks she's sitting up here putting on the bedwench cape for will be coming back and saying they did this all on their own. And that us lazy niggas, they're going to be the first ones to come back telling us the problem isn't white supremacy. Talk about your brain dead academics. This will be the same kind of help us to tell you that the problem isn't white supremacy. The folks she caping for, that's what they're going to say. That's what they've been saying. They're the Fox News viewers. You know, you Negroes are just lazy. Y'all are just lazy. Plenty of opportunity. You just lazy. The same folks she trying to cape for so hard. So just understand, when you have no dignity and self-respect, this is the way you end up acting. What ICE is doing to Latinos don't even say Latinx, West Indian and African migrants is part of the same machinery that has policed and abused black American bodies for centuries. We know what it means to have our families torn apart by the state. Torn apart, not about. We know what it means to be told that we don't belong in the land we built. They didn't build this land, so thank you, ma'am. Logic goes out the window. You got to understand, when you're seeking interracial sexual access and selling your soul and other things, you start talking stupid like this. We know exactly what it's like to be criminalized simply for existing. They're not criminalized for existing. They committed a crime. We didn't commit a crime. They tell us our crime was being born. Their crime is trespassing, violating American soil. They actually committed a crime. To be dehumanized by everyday language, media propaganda, policies, and bureaucrats in uniform. They're not citizens. But look how hard she's stomping for them. Black folks know what it means to live under surveillance, to be chased, cuffed, caged, and disappeared. We are the descendants of people who had to run. We didn't. So we need to check the paperwork on Dr. Stacy Patton, because we're actually, the reason that these other folk have a backstop to come to is because we didn't run. We did not run. Otherwise, there would be more of us outside of the continental U.S. than there is in it. We did not run. She talking about her cowardly bloodline. She's not talking about us. So, ma'am, you're projecting your cowardice. From the Fugitive Slave Act and slave catchers, from the KKK and lynch mobs, even if you were born right here in America, with ancestors going all the way back to slave ships, that border violence still echoes through black lives. That border violence, what the hell? Okay. The old, I got my papers, I'm safe, is a delusion. Okay, explain why it's a delusion. That little blue passport won't stop you from getting profiled, harassed, arrested, or shot by a cop who sees your skin before your citizenship status or hears your command in English. Okay, I thought this was about getting deported. Nobody is killing illegals. Many of them were supporting George Zimmerman and Darren Wilson. So we were talking about deportation, and she's trying to change the subject now to something else. So what about deportation, ma'am? What about that? Does our passport protect us from that? Does our birth certificate protect us from that? She don't want to talk about that part. You know what the subject is. Just ask the countless black immigrants already deported, or the U.S.-born black folks ICE illegally detained anyway. Detained is not deported. Detained is not deported. So she tries to come up with some examples. All she can come up with is 2. And by the way, those are debunked. So you can go ahead and do that if you want to. ICE detentions are triggered by racial profiling, flawed algorithms, and sloppy data. Skin complexion, language, and citizenship won't shield us. Show me a single person who showed their birth certificate or their driver's license, and okay, that's not good enough. Actually, for driver's license, that might not be proof of citizenship, but if you're a citizen, you can prove it. You have your documentation already. Looking, because you can be looked up. They go looking for you and can't find anything. Oh, there it goes. Think about all the black folks walking around without real IDs to prove they're citizens. You don't need real ID to prove you're a citizen. So this woman has a degree, allegedly. She might be one of these fake doctors. And this is the best they come up with. So much for your black academics, by the way. Jason, you always bombing on black academics. Yeah, because this is what it means to be an academic. Brain dead moron liar. Over a quarter of black adult citizens do not have a driver's license with their current name and or address. Okay, and you have your license. Unless you're from one of those weird states where you don't have to have a birth certificate to get the license. So yeah, ma'am. So she's projecting again. 18% don't have a license at all. If you live in New York City, you probably don't need one. According to the Center for Democracy and Civic Engagement, if ICE can mistakenly detain black and brown Americans born in the U.S., even if they have documentation, then no one is immune. That's not what's happening, but okay, lie on. Now it says some black folks are also citing the 2024 election exit polls to justify staying home and staying silent. Like the ICE protests don't concern us. They don't. Quote, Latinos voted for Trump. Let's see if she can refute this. But exit polls don't tell the whole story.
Nigga, what?
What? Oh, please.
No, this is real. She really said this. Exit polls don't tell the whole story. They only sample registered voters who actually voted. Yeah. And they never account for the millions of undocumented immigrants who can't vote. They also oversample precincts that don't match the demographic reality, skewing results toward the dominant group in those districts. This heifer here, she has a degree in NewsOne. This is the best NewsOne could afford to get. Oh, now listen to this next part. Most Latinos, like black Americans, did not vote for Trump. Oh, give us the numbers. According to national polls, 56% of Latinos who cast their ballot for Kamala Harris, this woman here, 56% of Latinos who voted cast their ballot for Kamala Harris, while 42% went for Trump. This is the best she could do? Well, I mean, it wasn't a numerical majority. 56% voted for Harris, which, by the way, is not a vote for us. Voting for Kamala Harris was not a vote for us, nor was that a vote against white supremacy. Voting for Kamala Harris was directly a vote for white supremacy. 42%, if you voted for Kamala Harris, you voted for diet white supremacy. If you voted for Donald Trump, you voted for full-flavored white supremacy. And she said 42%, we just need to shake that off. That doesn't mean anything. Just 42% voted for Trump. Yes, Trump made gains. Now, then she goes, Trump made gains among Latino men, but gains don't equate to dominance. In any given election, the majority of white men or white females may not vote Republican. That doesn't mean anything. The Latino vote split among familiar gender and generational lines, just like our communities.
Oh, please.
We can't turn a sampling of voter turnout into most Latinos voted for Trump, and we can't let bad math be an excuse to justify apathy. And there's this one. I ain't marching for nobody that won't march for me. Or it's equally tired fraternal twin. Latinos don't like us anyway. This is a scarcity-minded, historically illiterate nonsense that treats solidarity as some sort of tit-for-tat transaction. If that's how our ancestors thought, then there wouldn't have been an Underground Railroad, no Civil Rights Act, no voting act. What the hell? This woman is stupid, crazy, dumb. Let me explain something to you here, people, and you can go on with the Cesar Chavez stuff there because we've already covered about LULAC and all that. So, but you don't even have to go to LULAC, La Raza, anybody. If you live in Los Angeles, there are no black people, no foundational black folk. If you've dated Latinos, their family don't got love for you. You have never been welcomed into a Latino family with open arms. You might have had open arms or open legs from the person you was laying up with. The family didn't rock with you. The family did not rock with you. Jason, you ain't never did. I got eyes. I see what the hell y'all niggas putting up with. The family don't rock with you. There's nowhere you go where the family is welcoming you with open arms. Your Latino or Latina girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, your family is not treating them like that. You show up on their side, you go to East LA, you are not being welcomed with open arms. That's never happened, and it's not happening today. So she just has to make up garbage, is what she got to do. She got to make up garbage. Now, I want to remind you all of something here. I want to remind you of something. Some of you may have heard of game theory. And if you've never heard of game theory, look it up. It's more than worth your while, but basically it's a strategy that was created that, they teach in business school, in military school. So game theory is a good one. There's the most common example of game theory is the prisoner's dilemma. And so it's supposed to give you a way of being able to narrow down options. Prisoner's dilemma is just one example of game theory. There's plenty of others. But when you talk about game theory, they did a study that had hundreds of variables and examples to it there and mock participants. And I want you to understand that they were trying to figure out how can you win with game theory? How can you win with game theory? Is there a way or strategy where game theory can work to your advantage? And after a bunch of examples and a bunch of trialing it, they came up with one. Now, it would seem the game theory is it'd be a zero-sum game, but they actually came up with one that worked. And the one that they came up with that worked was basically tit for tat, but only up to the point of what they do. You give somebody something, they give it to you in return. You give them something again, and they don't give you something. At that point, then you don't give them anything. But you only keep, now for a lot of folk in game theory, when that was presented to them, even if the other people changed their behavior, they continue to keep withholding from them. But the most successful strategy for winning game theory, yes, reciprocity. If they honor what you do, then you act in kind. If they don't honor what you do, you respond in kind until they stop doing that. Once they change their behavior, then you modify yours. Now, maybe you were not the first one to enact hostility, but as long as they are continuing to be hostile, you stop engaging them. If they stop doing it, then you modify your behavior. So yes, ma'am, tit for tat is exactly what works. If you cannot, in the words of Dr. John Henry Clark, you cannot have a coalition unless you have the ability, and I would say the willingness, to punish the members of the quote coalition who break the coalition. We don't have a black-brown coalition because folks done broke the coalition. You don't have a coalition with somebody who's broken it. Now, if you are a feckless academic PhD wearing bedwench, then of course talking stupid doesn't matter to you because you really validate yourself with interracial sexual access, which is what you're really going for. And you're not really concerned what happens to black folk. You want to signal to everybody else, hey, don't turn me down. When y'all get ready to have interracial gutter sex, don't turn me down. So that's the position she's obviously coming at it from, is don't turn her down for some interracial gutter sex. And that's where she got to be. That's where she got to be. But you remember what she said here before. Remember what she said here before. This isn't about who likes us. It's about who's next. I'm so glad she said that, because I would like to draw your attention to Nina Turner. Nina Turner, of course, the Delectable Darkness. I don't mean to sound like Michael Eric Dyson, but Nina Turner and the Delectable Darkness. Scrumptious skin tone. Well, Nina Turner said black Americans are not next. We were first.
And deal with it, nigga.
She said it so eloquently. We're not next. We were first. Like to go over to her Substack. Says black Americans aren't next. We were first. We were written out of the founding documents of this country and have been denied our humanity ever since. Over the past few days, the images of militarized police and riot gear shooting tear gas and rubber bullets into crowds of protesters have plastered our screens. It is absolutely heartbreaking to see such violence and unrest on the streets of the United States. Not really. Black Americans are typically the target of state violence against protesters. That is not the case in this moment, which has left some asking, where are black people? This has created robust discussion and reflection from black people and those asking the question. A longer version of the question is often posed. Where are black people? Don't they know they are next? The framing of this question is wrong, though. Black people next for what? Next to have laws that target us specifically? Next to have law enforcement target us specifically? Next to be unfairly detained and denied justice by the United States justice system? Breaking news. Black people are not next. We were first. We were written out of the founding documents of this country and been denied our humanity ever since. In 1857, in Dred Scott versus Sanford, the United States Supreme Court decided that the U.S. Constitution did not extend American citizenship to people of black African descent, and therefore we could not enjoy the rights and privileges the Constitution conferred upon American citizens. After black Americans were released from the generational horror that was chattel slavery, we faced various systems of oppression, from sharecropping to Jim Crow to redlining to mass incarceration. We are not new to this. Now, let me go a step further before things get too far along here. For anyone who wants to tell you, for the brain dead blockhead over here, telling you that these are peeps, let me explain something to you about California. If you are a black person, specifically a black man who gets locked up in the jails in California or the state prisons in California, please understand, those are the most segregated prisons and jails in America. And I'm talking about by the inmates. You got jails in Louisiana that don't operate the way California does, specifically because of the Latinos. It's the Latinos who enforce racial segregation in the California jails and the California prisons. The Latinos squad up with the whites. What? In California, you talk about some damn code. The Latinos squad up with the whites in the county jail, the city jail, the state prison. The Latinos squad up with the Aryan Nation. The Latinos squad up with Aryan Brotherhood. Specifically to target black people. What the hell are you talking about? This bug-eyed, fish-eyed, pointy-headed heifer trying to sit up here and lie to you? You go to California, you ain't got no love? I can show you the proof. Ain't no love for you. You go in that damn jail system where everybody's an equal inmate, right? Oh, they letting you know real quick, if you're a black person and you step on their side of the jail, they got lines in the prison. If you step across the line, riot. Immediate riot. So before I go any further, I want to take that moment to stop and remind you, in the California jails and prison system, if they got love for you, what the hell is there? If they got love for you, how the hell is this happening? If everything is okay, and this heifer writing this article is telling you we need to ignore all that, okay, if everything is okay, what the hell's going on in them jails and those prisons? Those are not voters those are not exit poll voters, by the way, ma'am. Damn. Those are not exit poll voters, by the way. Just thought I would point that out. Those are not exit poll voters. When you see that kind of thing, that's not what you're dealing with. That's not no exit poll doing that. By the way, let me go ahead and just take one moment here. This is Dr. Stacy Patton. So if you all want to know who wrote that article for NewsOne, this is Dr. Stacy Patton. She's got the bedwench yarn locks on her head there, so Zaddy can pull and yank like his trusty steed. So, yeah, you get the feeling there. You get the feeling. We are not new to this. It should not be surprising that black Americans are responding to the question, where are black people, with that's not on us. This is not to say that black people do not care. Black people have been sounding the alarm on this country's authoritarianism for centuries. But because anti-blackness is woven into the fabric of public opinion, everyone ignored the warnings. Now, President Trump is mobilizing Marines to Los Angeles. What must happen moving forward is an acknowledgement that the path to our collective liberation is by people coming together for black liberation. Speak on, Nina. The laws being leveraged against every marginalized community are legal on the basis of a founding document that did not see black people as people. This is the foundational struggle of the United States of America. We can have a better America, but it will take marginalized communities standing with black Americans in the fight for black liberation. Can you be specific, Nina? Can you please be specific? Yes, she is. She next says, so instead of asking black Americans where we are, ask how you can help in the fight for lineage-based reparations. Ask how you can fight to end mass incarceration. I would go further. Just be civilized black folk when you are incarcerated. That would help. Ask how you can stand with us in solidarity so we can be liberated from the physical, psychological, and policy-based violence produced by the American brand of racism and white supremacy together. We must defeat fascism, and to do so, we must be together. To be together means standing with and for Black America. That is Nina Turner. That is Nina Turner. And if you don't already respect the darkness beforehand, you will after reading it. So that is Nina Turner doing what she does. Very much appreciated. Could not say it better myself. Because in California, you have Latino politicians arguing against reparations for us. Oh, that's the Black Brown Coalition. You have Latino politicians in California squadding up with the Anglos against us. And then got the damn nerve to turn around and talk about California was part of Mexico. Yeah, before you sold it, but in any case, these will be the same folks. These will be the same people. When it's time to squad up, they are consistent about targeting us, whether it's the LA City Council, whether it's the state Senate, whether it's Gavin Newsom. They're all consistent in their targeting of us, and everything that I've named for you here tonight exemplifies that. That these are not a select few or some select group of voters. This is the culture, and from the beginning they locked arms and locked hands with that. When they say improving the race, they mean specifically targeting you for violence and discrimination, and that they want to squad up with the Anglos. That's what improving the race means. We do ourselves no favors by pretending that if we just take a few more beatings a little bit better, then everybody's arms and legs will get tired of punching us and kicking us, and that eventually they'll get so tired they'll be like, okay, let's do something different. That ain't the way it works. Not at all. So folks are upset tonight. They're catching hell tonight. They're unhappy here tonight. They're looking to find out where we at. You know exactly where we at. We're over here taking care of our business. They got bombs dropping in Iran. They got bombs dropping in return on Israel. You got folks talking about World War III. Jason Black is consistent. Jason, what do you say in the face of Armageddon? Cut the check.
And deal with it, nigga.
Oh, but Jason, we're looking at World War III. Ooh, you better hurry up and cut the check before the bombs drop. Damn. Oh, if you're worried that the bombs are going to drop, you better hurry up and cut that check now. You ain't got a moment to waste. Chop, chop. Get to it. I don't want to hear a damn thing beside that. Not one. Everybody got an unlimited checkbook when everyone else shows up except us. When we show up, all of a sudden people start talking about balanced budgets, austerity, and fiscal responsibility when we show up. All of a sudden private organizations got unlimited funds. One of the heirs to the Walton family has been paying money into these protests. What? By the way, one of the heirs of the Walton family. So there goes the billions of dollars they made at Walmart. Now, they haven't brought around $100 million for some black folk to do something here. Jeff Bezos gave Van Jones $100 million to sit on his ass. Could you imagine what you could have done in Oak Cliff with $100 million, in Harlem with $100 million, in Newark with $100 million, in Philadelphia with $100 million, in Decatur, Georgia with $100 million. Could you imagine what black folk could have got popping in Jacksonville, Florida, in Tallahassee, Florida with $100 million, in Memphis, Tennessee with $100 million? Could you imagine what you could get? People, you can build a luxury high-rise hotel in America with $100 million. You could build a luxury high-rise hotel for $100 million. Offer jobs to all your people. Those coming home from prison, those with their GEDs, you could do miracles with that, which is why they make sure you don't have anything. You could work wonders with $100 million in Houston, Texas, in Baton Rouge, in Knoxville, Tennessee, in Cleveland, Ohio, St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, or Kansas City, Kansas. Imagine what we could do with $100 million. They'll spend 10 times, 100 times that amount to tell us, oh, well, don't do nothing, y'all good. Please understand, these people see wasting that kind of money as a tax, that's a tax you have to pay to make sure that we don't rise up, because we're the only people who talk about completely erasing the status quo. So paying this money to buffer classes and all this other nonsense, this is the tax that they pay to maintain the status quo. Could you imagine what black folk could do in name any city in America? $100 million. $100 million. Gave it to Van Jones, spending it on making folks protest in the streets. And I'm like, by the way, yeah, there's the reparations you should have gave right there. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about that. We're talking about that. But I want to go a little bit further with you all here tonight. LA Times is very upset. The LA Times is very upset. They're very upset, and they are calling out the Dodgers. What? Oh, man, the LA Times is taking out time from actually reporting news, which they don't do, so they can call out the Dodgers and tell the Dodgers, hey, y'all need to be doing more. Y'all need to be doing something. No, I'm serious, people. Of all the organizations they could be calling out, where are the Dodgers? Where are black folk? Where are the Dodgers? I mean, they're calling out anybody and everybody. They're calling out anyone and everyone. Other folks are bootlicking their asses off here. Tom Joyner, or at least Tom Joyner's Facebook page. What ICE is doing to migrants isn't just an immigration issue. It's white supremacist violence at its core. It's separating families. It's state violence. And Tom, this is why you and Roland became irrelevant. This right here, ain't nobody hearing this. Nobody's listening to this. This is what happens when these old niggas sit up here and try to slither their way back into the room. There's a reason your asses got kicked out and we changed the locks. There's a reason you ain't gonna be in the conversation anymore ever again. There's a reason for that. And this right here, I keep reminding people about Tom Joyner and that old crew of fossils and turncoats and backstabbers that he cultivated over there on his little show. I'm at a point in my life right now where if you see a nigga on a cruise anywhere, he's suspect. What? So Tom Joyner's out there doing that. Now, I want to go a little bit further here because I want folks to understand that we are still hard at work. And we got folks out there. I want us to know, I want you to remember that folks want to be smart. When situations change, we want to be smart about things. And I'm very unhappy about the fact that I got to say this openly. Because we need to be able to say this on the low, but I'm sending y'all a kite right now. Sending you a kite right now. There's a new mayor in Tulsa, Oklahoma. What? I say new, but he's been there now since December.
What?
Although when you go to Google and type in Mayor Tulsa, Oklahoma, it gives the previous mayor, the white one, G.T. Bynum. So, by the way, Tulsa's got, the Associated Press wants you to know there's a new black mayor. Is it really new if it's 6 months later? But okay. And they're upset because they're talking about, he's proposing a $100 million trust to repair the impact of the 1921 white supremacist race riots in Tulsa. Want y'all to understand something here. You need to be smart. We need to understand what we're doing and be able to get the point across without using words. Brothers and sisters, what's understood don't got to be explained. At least it shouldn't have to be explained. There were some boneheaded jackasses who were in my comments on this post talking about, well, he's not calling it reparations. He doesn't have to call it reparations. You can call it reparations. You can call it repair. You can call it restoration. You can call it Mike and Ike's peanut dip. I don't care what you call it, so long as it does what it is supposed to do. Everybody else out there understands code language. But you see, we got some lead pipe raised crack baby mama's boys and bastard baby girls out here, and everything for them has to be turned into damn me Sesame Street. They got to tell everybody everything that they're thinking. They don't think in nuance. They don't think strategically. Everything that the reason why they keep getting caught and derailed is because you got to spell out everything for them. He's not talking about cash payments, people. Reparations across the board acknowledges that. The whole point about it here is, are you moving funds and capital into things that are directly going for the people who have been affected by white supremacy historically? That is us. Period. And as long as he executes it the way in which they're talking about here, that is legit, and that's what it is. And this is exactly what we need to see in Wilmington, North Carolina. What? This is exactly what we need to see in Eatonville. This is exactly what we need to see in Rosewood, Florida. This is exactly what we need to see across the board. Bruce's Beach in California was a start. Although I was not pleased with the outcome, by the way. I was not pleased with that. But, folks, everybody heard us when we said reparations. Okay, people got the memo. Now it's simply time for you to understand it. Now it's time to understand it. That is the point. You need to understand. Once you got the language down, stop sitting up here taking out billboards and announcing to every damn body. Everybody else is moving below the radar because they are speaking in code. Everyone else is speaking in code. We need to understand, being on code means that everybody walks in the room and they know what the deal is. So when folks start probing for information, they get shut out because if they don't understand the code, there's nothing more to be said. It's like, you understand the code, so you understand if the proposal that's being given to you lines up with the code. When the proposal being offered to you lines up with the code, everybody understands and is supposed to go forward with that. I said this after the election. Actually, I was saying it before the election, but I said after the election. I said things have changed. The circumstances on the ground have changed, and we need to adapt and be versatile with it. Everyone's got the memo. Everyone understands. And I told y'all back then, go back and check out my programs from after the 2024 election. I said, I don't even think we need to be saying reparations right now because everybody understands it. We need to move on these strategies, move on this agenda. And as a matter of fact, I think right now it's a negative to say reparations. You see, let me explain something to you. And I hate I have to say this publicly because the white supremacy be like, damn, these niggas smart. Folks, when one form of branding is no longer working, you don't just sit there and keep beating the brand. That's a religion. You don't keep beating the brand. That's a religion. When one form of branding does not work, or if one form of branding is no longer maximally effective or advantageous, then you change the branding. You don't just keep hammering the same one. And the more abstract, the better. What? Lee Atwater said that, remember? When they leaked the tapes on Lee Atwater. Go ahead and Google it if you need to. He was one who said originally you could say no niggers allowed. Segregation now, segregation forever. He says you could do that. But after the Civil Rights Act, you couldn't do that anymore. Okay, did they just keep sitting out there talking about hang the niggers? No. They switched up. They changed up. He said then it became about no more busing and states' rights. Then they rebranded again. And it was about no affirmative action. Then they rebranded again. Now it's about lower taxes and school choice and charter schools. He said it became more abstract and more abstract, but everybody understood that the net effect of doing these policies would be that it would harm black people much more than white people. So they didn't sit around and keep saying the same thing all over again. They were flexible, and we have to be flexible and understand that when you give people an easy target to attack, that's not smart strategy. That's not intelligent warfare. You're supposed to be a hard target, not a soft, easy one. If you have become a hard target, then if you become a soft target, you need to become a hard one. And right now, we need to make sure that we become a harder target. And that means necessity of rebranding. We understand what the goal is. We understand what we're here for. We understand what the ingredients are supposed to be. Now that we understand what the ingredients are and what the ingredients are supposed to be, you're supposed to be making sure that somebody is out there putting the right ingredients into the basket before you leave the store. You do not have to sit there and say, oh, look, instant reparations mix. There's a bunch of folk here. You're being simple-minded. You're not sophisticated. It's time for you to wake up here. We don't need folk to go to the store and bring us reparations mix. Just add water. Okay, pick up some eggs over there. Pick up some baking powder over there. Pick up some flour over here. Pick up a little bit of cream over here. Get some icing over there. Get some sprinkles over here. Oh, what you doing over there? We making eggs. Oh, big ass basket full of eggs, ain't it? I like my eggs with flour. Really? Look like you're making bread. Look like you're making a cake. Somebody watching too much? Somebody see too much? Now you got to do the Walter White. What? Damn! Oh man, do I gotta go there with it? I'm going there with it tonight. See, if folk are watching you too damn closely, now you gotta do the Walter White. Y'all remember that episode of, well, for those of you who watched Breaking Bad, remember there were them new guys that he was at the hardware store and these fellas were buying the tools and stuff for the trade to start making meth? And he followed them out to the parking lot and he said, what are you guys, rookies? You're messing up here. You don't go buy everything all at once. And you don't buy them in large quantities either. Go get them from different places. You don't just go to the same store over and over again. And then he told them, now this is my turf. Stay off of it. Okay, we don't need instant reparations mix. We can make our own here, but if they looking for everybody trying to buy reparations mix right now, Some places it's easier than others, but even still, it's a hard road. They looking for people trying to buy reparations mix. I go to the store and go to Piggly Wiggly and get some eggs. Go to Publix and get some flour. Go to Walmart and get some baking powder. Go to Whole Foods and get some icing. Go to Albertsons and get some sugar. That's what they saw you loading up the cart with all the ingredients. You're making it too easy of a target, so it's okay, don't load up the cart with the ingredients. Go over here, go over there. We know the ingredients we're looking for. We need to be sophisticated enough that we understand what the ingredients are that will add up to what we need. And by the way, this is what on-code politicians need. The politicians, when you have politicians on code, they're like, hey, y'all niggas too blatant. How you going to get anything done and you're too blatant? You have to be sophisticated enough and smart enough to see what the ingredients are and see if it adds up to that. That's what we're missing. If you force all of your representatives to keep running out and saying exactly what it is, then you make it too easy to knock us off. We're outnumbered, outgunned. The system's rigged against us. You're making it too easy for everybody to get together and squad up on you. So we shouldn't have to say any of these things. Everybody should already know. Look for the ingredients. Now, it is my job as the anchor man of the New Black Media to point out from time to time when I see these kind of things occurring. It'd be different if the brother got in the office and completely ignored everything. He didn't do that. He got in there and he's making a proposal about this. We need to check under the hood, check the paperwork, make sure it's legit, make sure his paperwork checks out, and then if everything is good, you push that. But this idea that, wait a minute now, I got my own burger idea right here. We ain't doing it just like this. I can't follow all this stuff y'all doing. Okay, I need the slow bus kids to just, nigga, if you can't keep up, just roll what we're doing over here. Roll what we're doing. Everybody else is getting specific set-asides and specific benefits for them. We have learned to stop racializing it because we understood that they were saying, oh, that's not constitutional. Okay, folks are coming up with ways to be able to circumvent that. We need to recognize when they're circumventing it. We need to recognize when they are putting together a pool of money and how it's going to be used. We need to recognize that there is more than one way to skin this white supremacist cat. This is what I meant by reparations across the board. We have to be flexible. We have to understand when our funds are being extracted. Our job is just to make sure that we have that they're putting in place a mechanism for the proper redistribution of it. But you can't keep, I'm just telling you right now, folks have gotten too sloppy with it. We can't keep really sitting around most people in most places to say reparations. In the places where there are reparations committees together, yeah, keep at that. New York, California, yeah, keep at that. Absolutely no problem at all. But by the same token, understand what you're dealing with. Understand what you're dealing with. We need to make sure that we're on code and not sitting up here saying everything that we're thinking. That's the issue. So there are things happening out there, and I've seen things, and I want you to be aware that we're monitoring that, and stuff is changing. This is what we're focused on. This is what we're focused on. You want to know where black folk at? You want to know where the Freedmen and the Foundation are at? You want to know what we're looking at? We're looking at this right here. We're looking at stuff like this. This is what we focused on. While these other groups got together and squadded up with the dominant society against us. This is what we're focused on now. We're looking at this. We're looking at things like this. We're looking to replicate this. This is where our attention is. This is where our focus is at. Right here. Right here. And to any other place that's trying to do something like this, this is where we at. No, we ain't out in Los Angeles trying to cape for nobody who ain't did nothing but us. Oh, we over here. We're over here. Where black folk at? We right over here doing what we supposed to be doing. Doing this. And if they don't like it, we're going to give them a lot more than I like about it. However, you might disagree. Therefore, we're going to go ahead and open up the Zoom for you. You'll have the opportunity to go ahead and give us a call. I also want to give you all a heads up about what I want to talk about tomorrow. I want to give you all a heads up about what I want to talk about tomorrow because I think it's going to be kind of important. So I want us to have a bit of a roundtable discussion about that here tomorrow. So I'm going to discuss that right after we have our very brief commercial, non-commercial break. Before we do, I want to thank everyone, and I do mean everybody who's contributed to a nice program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo. Shout out here to my man, The Code Leads.
I told you all that I was the greatest of all time. I told you today I'm still the greatest of all time.
Shout out to The Code Leads. We had the Delineate family. Absolutely true. We appreciate that, brother, here. To my man, Mr. Richburg, thank you very much for your support as well. Mark B., thank you as well. And Joyce, I see you there, Joyce. Thank you very much for your support. We appreciate that. To everybody there in the Super Chat, thank you very much for your support here tonight. We're going to take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. When we come back, I'll let you all know what I'm going to talk about tomorrow, and we'll probably see about taking a few calls from you and more. This is the Black Channel.
When you visit MrBeTheTeacher.com, you can get a copy of his award-winning book, Guidelines for the Successful Student. While you're there, grab one of his newest tunes along with fun and educational lyric videos.
Never give up, don't worry, never give up, study. In order to 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times swap names, he, she, they, and we. Simplify the daddy's advice as the father and guide. Money multiplies and shares on what they buy.
You can also acquire his tutoring services via varsitytutors.com or tutor.com. If you wish to speak to Steve Burgess directly, you can do so through MrBeTheTeacher.com.
The Honey Badger and the Mongoose is a children's story for the family of how a honey badger and mongoose fight an evil alliance of venomous cobra snakes and hyenas that overhauls the balance of the savannah. The Big Five. The honey badger demands reparations. Will the Big Five give the honey badger reparations? Can the evil alliance of cobras and hyenas be stopped? The best new price for the hard and soft cover is at www.thehoney-badger-and-the-mongoose.com. You can also find this book at Amazon, Audible, and Kindle.
Order yours today to experience all the benefits of Ash Kickin' Body Butter. With skin so smooth and soft, you'll thank us for it. Shop Ash Kickin' online. That's ASHKICKIN.com.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slavery and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
This is the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to be with you all here this evening. And we've gone ahead and thrown up the Zoom link in the chat room for you here. We've gone ahead and thrown up the Zoom link for you. So we're going to go ahead and get to that here in just a moment. I want to do I want to give a brief heads up about what I want to talk about here tomorrow. I think on tomorrow's program, I asked a question on Twitter. I had asked a question on Twitter earlier today, and I had asked a question that, you know, you got all these folk from Mexico and the Caribbean and Africa and whatnot fighting to come to America. I mean, fighting in the streets to stay. They ain't trying to go back for nothing. They're demanding that you let them stay here. To which I say, you know what? If that's the way you feel about it, maybe they just need to annex Mexico. I mean, if Mexican citizens are fighting in the streets to stay here, it sounds like maybe they just need to go. Y'all just need to let the United States annex Mexico. Let the U.S. annex Mexico, annex the Caribbean, annex wherever in Africa y'all. If that's how critical it is that you got to get out of there, and you are gonna fist fight anybody who tries to send you back, because you want to be an American. Then why don't we just go ahead and annex where you came from so that you're born Americans? So you don't got to run around anymore. Why don't we just go ahead and annex it since you've already made it clear you want to be an American? Then why don't you go ahead and advocate for the annexation of these places? Since you already fighting to be here and you want to fist fight and you ready to get shot and deported and jailed and everything else, it means that much to you. Okay. I don't see why you're not advocating for the annexation of these places into the U.S. so that you and your kinfolk can just be born American citizens. Instead of all this false flag, and some folks, they're just not happy with something unless they can steal it. They're just like, I don't want it if you just give it to me, that's too easy. I got to steal it. So, bro, it ain't got to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way at all. Y'all just need to get together and let these folks know, hey, let the U.S. go ahead and annex this, and hey, Toronto, let the U.S. annex this. And hey, Mexico, we need to annex this. And hey, the Caribbean, Dominican Republic, Haiti. All right, that's going to be a little rough neighborhood right there. Haiti will be a little bit of a rough neighborhood. Can't lie to you about that one. Haiti going to be a little bit of a rough neighborhood. But long as this is the way they feel about it, I don't know. So tomorrow's program, we may see about having a discussion about maybe the U.S. needs to annex these places. Maybe these illegals need to be demanding the annexation of the places they came from so that they can just all be born American citizens and be done with it. But you got your governments talking about they want to have you have a right to come here. It's like, okay, they can have a right to come here if you're American, so why don't we go ahead and get you annexed? And then these old bull jive ass so-called presidents you got from these little nations you come from, get their incompetent asses out the way and see how a real government gets run, at least compared to what y'all come from. America's got a real government compared to what you come from. So it's a question we're going to probably see about entertaining here tomorrow. Let me go ahead and jump over here on Zoom. By the way, for everybody who is on Zoom, thank you very much for calling up. The only thing that we ask is make sure you have your camera and your microphone turned on just so we don't have any trolling issues. You will not be put on YouTube. The folks on YouTube will not see you, but just to make sure we don't have any trolling issues, make sure you have your camera and your microphone turned on. If you don't have that, or if you're sitting in the dark, we're going to move on to somebody else. So let me go ahead and jump up here. Let's see if we can get Tarad up here on Zoom. All right, Tarad. Let me see where you are. There you are. All right, Tarad. What's on your mind?
Can you hear me clearly, brother?
Yes, sir.
All right. I just wanted to say that I think deep down, a lot of these immigrants, people of color, really want us to get deported because, Black Americans, we're one of the most hated demographics in this goddamn country. And they feel some type of way that we can't be deported because Brother Tariq, said this like in one of his past broadcasts that they feel some type of way that they kind of have to tiptoe around a little bit because they honestly despise their country. And we have a we're naturalized born citizens. We fought in every war and stuff like that. So they feel some type of way about that. And another thing too, I remember last year when they ended affirmative action. These things I seen a lot of people all over Twitter, Instagram, and a lot of them were of immigrant background. They was all laughing at us, saying, "Ha ha, that's what you get, black folks, ha ha," and stuff like that. That because they thought we was taking like their spot, which is just not true. And yeah, that's all I have to say, brother. I'll land my plane there. You can build.
Well, brother, here's my thing about that is for the longest time here, folks thought it was going to be a free ride. They thought it was going to be a free ride, and for the longest time, it kind of was. Mm-hmm. So this has been a great, big, huge adjustment to everyone. They're not used to us, saying this the way we're saying it. And also to reference the first thing you were talking about, I've always talked about the problem of the backstabbing cultures. Mm-hmm. These folk come from places where every man for himself. And that's what's allowed the colonizers and the imperialists to take over where they came from, because they got over there and saw, oh, y'all are all every man for himself. Well, that's good. I don't have to separate you. Y'all are already broken up. We made progress here on American soil specifically because that was not the way we did things. Mm-hmm. We were up against the united government and the united culture of white supremacy, and we wasn't trying to be just one person. That's how we made progress, is by rejecting backstabbing culture, and it wasn't every man for himself. And even today, they're acting like they're united, but they're really only united to the extent that there's something that they want. Just as soon as the man takes the white supremacist boot off their necks, they're going to go back to every man for himself.
Yeah, I get. Can I say one more thing, brother?
Go ahead.
All right. Basically, I'm a young guy. I'm like only 22 years old. So I'm still learning about some things, still learning about our culture and all that. And I'm just going to say that these people, they need us to get involved because we have the highest moral compass, or the highest moral superiority. Because, during the civil rights, we didn't just, think about just for black people. We thought about all minority groups. And we have the highest moral compass of that because, like you said, where they come from, it's a whole bunch of backstabbing. A lot of these Hispanics don't even like, their own darker skin Hispanics. And we never really operated like that, because we always had like a huge minority correlation involved because, we thought about everyone. We seen like, how the white supremacists did them. And we thought that when they came over here, they would be on our side. And it turns out a lot of them ain't really trying to be on that type of time.
Well, here's the thing. It really never was like that to begin with, because the situation is we were really the largest minority group, the only one of any real significance. That was the difference. Mm-hmm. But our position as being targeted by the American government, that's what makes us unique. That's why when you talk about the 14th Amendment, I did a program explaining why it applies only to us. Nobody else was targeted for chattel slavery. Nobody else was. So the 14th Amendment couldn't have been to help them because none of you were being targeted. No one was saying that your children were not American citizens. There's only one group of people that was made for, because there's only one people whose citizenship or birthright citizenship was being challenged by anyone. Just one. These other folk, nobody was challenging their citizenship. Nobody was challenging their Americanness. No one was threatening them as a group to eradicate their citizenship. So they couldn't have been talking about you. And so you didn't grow up. You may have grown up in a culture where you weren't accepted as white, but you were not targeted for your non-whiteness. Yeah. And as soon as they opened up a lane for you, you started replicating the anti-black behaviors that they were doing. We are the only people who can say truthfully that we've never targeted anybody. Even when we got in positions of relative power, we never targeted people for exclusion. We never tried to keep them down. We never tried to take what they had and ostracize them and leave them with nothing. We've never tried to disinherit them. We're the only ones who can say that. No one else can. So when other people are looking to gain an advantage in their little chess game, then they try to piggyback on us because we're the only ones who have a concrete, undeniable, indisputable, righteous grievance. We're the only ones who got that, which is why everybody else keeps trying to piggyback on us to see if they can get that shield of protection. I'll let you have the last word.
And one more thing, these people are trying to compare, like, the protests of what's going on in California, with our plights and stuff like that. And let me tell you, man, these Hispanics, man, these ICE raids and all that, they not even doing much to them, really. Only thing these white folks are really doing is giving these folks like a pluck in the ear. Only thing they telling them to do is just telling them, basically, make sure you have your paperwork in order. They're not having COINTELPRO programs on them. They're not mass incarcerating them. They're not lynching them. Only thing they're really doing, and hopefully you agree with me on this, is just giving them a slight pluck in the ear, like I said, and just having
they're kind of doing a little bit more on the thump on the ear, but they ain't doing the Fred Hampton on them. They're not doing any of that right there. So the bottom line is, I want folks to understand, please don't mistake what you are seeing. These are groups that practice white supremacy back where they come from. They practice it in Mexico. They practice it in South America. So they're used to white daddy smacking them up. That's the part that folks here don't really get. And I've been trying to explain this for weeks now. You don't understand. They're used to that. They take pride in it. So this hazing that goes on and the getting smacked up by the Anglos, they're used to that. That happens where they come from. It's a part of the culture. So having the white strong man who sits up here and buckles down on them from time to time, they're used to that. So do not expect them to harbor any long-standing grudges or grievances. That is not what's going to happen. This is standard operating procedure where they come from, and then take a look at who they elect. You take a look at what the majority population of Mexico looks like, and then go take a look at their past 5 presidents. That's all you got to do. Hell, I could actually extend that to 10. South America, same thing. You want to talk about Brazil? Okay, you can talk about Brazil and then talk about the population of Brazil and then talk about who's running it. So do not underestimate this. They understand that what the United States government is saying is not wrong. They understand that, and they respect a government that puts its foot down. They're trying to see how much they can get away with, but please do not make any mistake. They respect the government for putting its foot down. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. They respect it. Don't let anybody fool you. They respect it. They respect it. Let me go ahead and see if I can get Maji up here. See if I can get Maji up here. Maji, we're going to try to get you on Zoom. Make sure you're awake over there. We don't want to have to do too much running around to try to get you up here. So Maji, where are we at on Zoom? There you go. All right, Maji, and what's on your mind?
Hi, yes. Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to share a story. I got into an Uber this week, and the driver was from El Salvador, I found out. This was a totally unsolicited conversation, but he starts talking about all the ICE raids, and he makes the comment, "Oh, it's affecting Black people," and I wait. And he says, yeah, they're rounding up people from Jamaica and Haiti. And I just let him go on. And he alludes to the fact that his mother brought him over here. And I assume that they came illegally. And once he finishes he also mentioned, he's like, oh, what they shouldn't be deporting people. They should just, deport the bad ones, and the ones that are good, just let them stay here, make them pay a fine, and let them continue paying taxes. And that's when it dawned on me. I was like, okay, so they want us to jump in for them and save them because we fight for justice. But this is not a just cause at all. This is not just. You guys broke some rules and you just want to stay here.
Yeah, I mean, because that's the problem that we have is that, hey, that's what y'all do where you came from. Where y'all came from, it's about take what you can get however you can get it. So you got this really disorganized thing, and that's why I talk about backstabbing cultures. If you're not going to respect the rules of the folk you want hospitality from, you're not a benefit. That's not the way that works. So you have to earn the ability to do that. When you're dealing with folks who ain't got no rules, just recognize they're going to exercise that against you. It's not going to stop at the borders. And case in point, after they got over here, did they link up with us? Did they cooperate with us? What did they do after they got here? They got together in their own little enclaves, and they tried to figure out how to circumvent us and exercise power over us, the folks who made it possible for them to get here. So, like I said, they're learning a lesson. You don't do yourself any favor by showing people that you're everybody's fool. You don't do yourself any favor, and all we're doing now is making it clear to folks, yeah, we're not anybody's fool anymore. Not anymore. And that doesn't benefit us. So, yeah, we're good on that. We're good. What city are you in?
I'm in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay. They got a lot going on over there, too. You got a lot of New York transplants that have come down there, too, by the way. So a whole lot of that has been going on, and it hasn't really been a net positive effect. So these folk are talking about how this benefits them, but it's not benefiting you. Them paying taxes, because here's the other thing. They'll sit up and about, yeah, we should just pay taxes. Oh, great, so you can pay your reparations. They'll be the first ones arguing for you to say, oh, no, we don't need to do that. They'll be the first ones telling you that. And it's like, hey, dude, we opened up the lane for you to come over here in the first place. So, yeah, this is that bill for it. For all that work we've done and continue to do, yeah, here's the bill. All of a sudden, they're going to tell you, yeah, we don't want that. I'll let you have the last word.
Yeah, just to finish that story, I did let him know that I had no idea about what him and his family and all these people being rounded up went through, because my mom's side of the family, they came here from Cuba in the 60s, and they applied to leave Cuba. It took 2 years. They took harassment in Cuba, whatever, and they came here. And then 7 years later, they became citizens. And so when I told him this story, he said, oh, well, yeah, Cubans had it much easier, da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, okay, but they came in the 60s, the early 60s during the Cuban Missile Crisis. I don't think that what you're saying is correct. It's just excuse after excuse. They want to justify their unjust cause. It baffles me. I just don't understand.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Somebody who's trying to steal something wants to piggyback on people who've earned something. And the white supremacist majority is okay with that because they dump those folks off in our neighborhoods, and then they get right back to work trying to steal everything that's not bolted down and getting over on people and cheating them and whatnot. So that's what I'm talking about. You're not bringing over folks who have a code of conduct, starting with being an honest person to begin with. That's not who's coming over, and that's not what they're dumping over there. So, of course, they can't work with you. They're here to take whatever they can get. And it's just like, yeah, enough of the folk coming for a take. Why don't you demonstrate you can earn the right to do that, and we'll review your paperwork. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We appreciate that. Let me see if I can get Maurice up here on Zoom. Let me see if we can get Maurice on Zoom. Yeah, I mean, somebody who's looking to pull off a smash and grab. Yeah, that's not what we're looking for. All right, we got Maurice on Zoom. What's on your mind?
So half of my family is from Panama, and my father's side is from Chicago. And for what I experienced on my side of the family from Panama, they're all here legally, and they're really not caping for none of these illegals. In fact, if anybody knows legal citizens like I do, saying that they're illegal is very offensive to them. That's a quick way to get cussed out. And not to cape for my Panamanian side, because on my Panamanian side, they're 100% cooning. The only people on my Panamanian side who are caping for illegals is my uncle, who's a certified coon. He's at Mayor of Oxford, North Carolina. And I got 2 cousins who are caping for illegals, but they're all hard tap dancing coons. But for the most part, on my Panamanian side of the family, nobody's really caping for the illegals because you can't really justify it. It's not justifiable at all. You know what I'm saying?
Did you say he's a mayor?
Yes, he is literally a mayor of an American city, and he is a certified coon.
Yeah, man, they have dumped a lot of them folks in the Carolinas and Virginia. Remember that Lieutenant Governor of Virginia? They've dumped a lot of them in that area. Quiet is kept, y'all. In the Carolinas and Virginia, y'all, they have flooded. I want to give folks an update. They have flooded the zone. They really have. They have dumped. There must be 500,000 illegals in there by now. Must be at least 500,000 just in that one area alone in the Carolinas. Must be. And up into Virginia, must be at least 500,000 in the last 4 or 5 years. Gotta be.
And Jason, if you look up my uncle, his name is Guillermo Nurse, the mayor of Oxford, North Carolina. Go to his page and look at the articles. He don't talk about anything specifically for Black people. And even in fact, in these articles, they're saying he's the first Latino mayor. And that nigga's blacker than the ace of spades. You know what I'm saying? He's not only a traitor to Black people, he's a traitor to Panamanians. He steals from our own family. He betrays our own family. And
that sounds like he's exactly what the Democrats want.
Exactly.
That's exactly the kind of stand-up dude they're looking for.
Mm-hmm. Just stealing. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, that's all I really have
brother,
to say.
like I said, I can see Nancy Pelosi now. It's like, hey, brother, you want to be a mayor? You know, and I'm not joking about that. What I'm saying is that think about all these guys. When you have an Andrew Gillum, you know, when you have them kind of focused, like, didn't you find out all these damn skeletons in the closet and all these bones in the closet? That's not accidental. They check the paperwork. It's like, oh, you exactly the kind of character that we're looking for. And in his case, most likely, I'm pretty sure he's not an independent. I'm pretty sure he's a Democrat. And
Hold on a minute. He, on his page, he says he's independent, but that's the hustle that they do. They claim they're independent, and then they lean more to Democrat policies. You know,
if he's looking to make it up the political ladder, he's going to sell out here. He's going to choose a side there. It depends on which one he's looking for, because in his case, fellas with that kind of disposition, he could go either which way. You know, so he could go Democrat or Republican. He would fit right in with MAGA. So he could actually ride the fence and go either which way when you think about it. So he's trying to, when this time for being there runs out, if he's looking to move up the political ladder, look for him to make a move in that direction. He's going to choose a side.
Yeah, and that fool, he wanted me to help him campaign. Shit, no. I don't. Half my family's Panamanian. I don't mess with them. I really don't identify with that because it's like they have a backstabbing culture, and I just can't rock with that. You know what I'm saying? I support FBA all the way. Even if I don't get reparations, I'm okay if I don't get reparations. As long as FBA wins, hey, that's all I care about.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight, brother. We appreciate it. Like I say, I mean, they know who they're bringing over here. That's the reason why it's important. We got to watch who comes over here as well, even if they come over legally, because we know there's a vetting process legally. Remember what I've always told you, that first generation, they'll be the super coons, but their children and definitely their grandchildren, by the time they spent time around us, a lot of that cooning gets filtered out of them. So they have to the government then starts bringing in a whole new crop of them. Once that second and third generation spends time around us, a lot of that cooning gets washed out. So then the government goes and says, okay, we need a new crop of y'all to come on over here. And they check the paperwork and, oh, yes, I love Olivia Newton-John and a whole lot of that going on. Okay, let me go ahead and see if I can get Richard up here on Zoom. Hold a second. Let me see if we can get Richard up here on Zoom. I'll give Richard a few moments here, Richard. I'm not seeing anything. Waiting for you here. Hey. All right, Richard, what's on your mind?
What I was just thinking about the Constitution as it originally was set up. It was for landowners. That's all who had the vote, you know. So we really made America in terms of the rights that people have given. You know, our struggle has defined the court battles, the jurisdiction. You know, everybody fed off of us being the shock troops for freedom in the United States. And to have immigrants come over as replacements and to be used, America was built on the slave trade, and it's addicted to slavery. As close as they can get to slavery, that's what they want. So whether that's exporting jobs for cheap foreign labor or bringing foreign labor in here to do the job. So I just think we just have to stand up. The moral compass is not guiding the ship, so the moral compass is standing down. We need to do what you're talking about, look out for the interests of our own people. And these people that come here on the come up, they think they come in here, they have the idea that they can treat us like they treat the Afro-Latinos in their own countries. And that's a mistaken, they're going to get their feelings hurt if we allow them to stay. And that includes the Afrikaners who have been sponsored by our erstwhile president. I'll land my plane on that.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight, brother. Look here, y'all. The reason why I showed you all these articles tonight is because I'm trying to let you know MSNBC and Rolling the Bowling Ball and the dead black media, They don't control the narrative or the discussion. All these articles I'm showing you are saying the same thing. They are conceding. We are not caping for nobody. We're not hitting the streets, and everybody is acknowledging that we're not doing it. Nobody can lie and say that we're out there front line and we're trying to make stuff pop off. Nobody can lie about it. If we weren't here, they would probably be trying to lie to you and tell you that's the case. But they're even conceding that, yeah, the situation is deteriorated. This is not the old civil rights generation looking for somebody to cape for. This is not the old civil rights generation. That's not what's occurring. Not at all. So these other folks here, they've had a long time to watch this. And the old days where they used to be able to say that stuff and, black folk, you're going to do this, that, and the other. The word is out, people. I'm showing you from all your mainstream media outlets, your talking heads, everybody got the memo. This isn't Jason Black talking. Everyone got the memo. We're not showing up. And they know why we're not showing up. That's the most powerful part. The most powerful part is not just that we're not showing up, but they all know why we're not. They can all tell you why we're not showing up. Man, this is a shock to the system. They were just certain we were going to do something. It's like you can't even shame us. Game over. Let me go ahead and jump back over here on Zoom. I got Omari up here on Zoom. What's on your mind, Omari?
B1, Brother Jason. Thank you very much for having me on. I'm looking forward to going back and looking listening to the playback of the broadcast. I just sort of jumped in the middle. And you'll have to forgive me if this comes off as a kind of like a snitching or being a little, if I'm speaking out of turn. I'm sure you recall, you used to have and this very much pertains to the conversation. You used to have a regular caller that your longtime listeners will know as the Northside Tether from Chicago. I believe you have him listed in the thumbnails, one of your main videos that you promote on the channel. And this clown, man, he's so disgusting. He stopped calling you a long time ago, and basically ever since you started introducing the Zoom, and he's been calling into Tariq's spaces, bringing the same BS and the same bullshit, just that serious self-loathing anti-black racism about, foundational Black Americans, we don't produce anything, we can't do anything, we can't, we're just broken culture, yada, yada, yada. The same BS that he would bring to your spaces. And I think a couple of nights ago, he actually had the nerve to call in on some I guess, would-be guilt trip stuff. Like, he was sort of changing up his tune, like, what do you guys think of what's going on? And do you kind of feel bad about it? Counter that with another tether by the name of RJ. That's a complete DNC show that calls into Tariq spaces, and he does the whole guilt trip stuff about what would Martin Luther King think, and what would your ancestors think, and MLK.
Yeah, I mean, what they're learning there is that the old stuff there, that when you have to resort to begging and pleading and pathetic stuff, that you've kind of run out of options at that point.
But how can they go between that, like telling that we ain't shit, we're not good for nothing, and then asking for our help in the same breath? I can't understand it. And maybe I know the answer, but can you just, how does that happen?
Because they're confused. And as brother Neely Fuller taught us, if you don't understand white supremacy and how it works, everything else will just confuse you. So everything you do is confusing. You run into yourself. You having cognitive dissonance. You're contradicting yourself. You're trying to hold the line on something, but it actually cannot be held. So you start trying to rationalize it. Yeah, but reality and your perspective are in conflict with each other. So when you start trying to talk your way through it, it really just winds up falling apart. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We appreciate that. When you try to do that kind of thing, that just falls apart. Speaking of Northside Tether, hello, barrister.
Hey, what's up? I have three things.
We were just speaking about you.
I know, and he's completely misinformed.
Oh,
my intentions are good.
Really?
Yes,
okay.
yes, they are. But I actually have 3 points. I just want to point out.
No, you don't. You don't have.
Martin Luther King.
You don't have a point. You just think you do. But go ahead.
Well, Martin Luther King did say, and again, this is a well-known quote: "Justice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere."
Injustice, you dumbass. It's injustice anywhere.
Yeah, basically. So that's one point. Fred Hampton actually built a coalition of various minority groups, and that made him a huge threat to white supremacist culture. So, and
okay, the Black Panthers were not a multicultural organization like that.
Basically, he did build a coalition of Latinos to assist him in pushing his goals.
Okay, where were they when he got killed?
Again, they're dealing with specific.
That fell apart real quick. Now, what else you got?
The other thing is, I just lost my train of thought here.
Trust me, your train of thought derailed along to only train of thought you got is the gravy train. That's it.
Oh no. Yeah, let me just. Yeah, basically. Don't you think that there's going to be a huge ripple effect if we don't help, our other minority groups, basically?
Okay, what ripple effect? What are you talking about?
Well, yeah, basically the other point was Dr. Claude Anderson. Again, I read his books. He's a great man. Dr. Claude Anderson was on a broadcast several years ago, and he did say that due to the fact that Black Americans don't produce nothing, Black American people are like the biggest non-producers in this country. They don't do anything. That at some point in the near future, that the government will find some way to find a solution to the Black American problem, because Black Americans in this country, they don't do anything. They don't produce anything. They just take. All they do is produce sweat. So I think that
I would take issue with that characterization. Certainly coming. Certainly coming from you. That doesn't hold any real water there.
Well, he was on the Breakfast Club. He said
if we didn't produce anything, then how in the hell do we open up a lane for you to be here?
That was a long time ago. Today,
a long time ago. Okay, so
that was like decades ago. I mean, Black people today, they're the biggest non-producers. That's why Black people don't get respect. That's so. I just think that.
Okay, tell me what we would need to do. Who is it we need to get respect from?
Everyone, every single group, white people, Asians,
Why?
Latinos, and I think this would be a huge because everything. Let's say immigrants who come here, things like they're being pushed.
This nigga is stuttering like he's on meth. Tell me why I need Asians to respect me, sir. That's a very simple question.
Well, Asians are the so-called model.
Okay, you're describing them. Tell me why I need their respect, sir.
They have money.
And so do I.
Well, you don't have as much money as Asians.
Okay,
and they have more power.
Sir.
It's called power.
Sir, we're talking about respect. Furthermore, I'm not a hoe. I'm not looking for folk to give me I don't give folk respect because they got money. You talking that Nigerian hoe stuff is what you doing.
I'm not talking.
No, sir. No. You right now you're channeling your Nigerian hoe side. You don't give somebody respect because they got money. I know that's the way y'all operate. That's the way you all operate where you come from. If somebody got $1, it make you holler where you come from. We ain't cut like that. That's why you're confused. We don't jump because somebody got money. We ain't cut like you.
Black people in America don't have power. They don't have money. That's why they don't have respect. They have no way to influence other people to get what they want.
Okay, let me go ahead and discuss the lie about what you just said. He just said because Asians have money. Sir, where do Asians get their money from?
Various different groups.
No, they don't, sir. Where do Asians get their money from?
It's called capitalism.
Okay, where are they practicing capitalism geographically?
Here in this country. And
Where?
All over the United States of
Sir,
America.
the Asians only do business in black neighborhoods, sir.
Asians own the hair industry, and black women.
They own no,
they
do no, sir.
Yes,
they do not
own the hair industry.
Sir. They do not own quote the hair industry. They only operate in the black hair industry. Show me where Asians operate in the white one. Where do they operate in the white one?
Women give them well over $1 billion each and every single year. They practice
So that Asian so-called money you were just talking about, why they got it from us. Well, so it sounds like the Asians need to be respecting us.
Deal with it, nigga.
Oh,
Asians have been disrespecting black people for so long.
But you said where you get where you get your dollar from dictates who gets respected. Sir, that's called a logical checkmate. I'm using your argument. Well then, by your logic, we're the ones who need to be getting respected, and these other folks are deficient because they have not shown respect to the people who built them. Oh, that makes more sense now. The way you said it was real screwy and weird. Now we straighten it out. That makes a lot more sense.
Jason, Asian women have been respecting black people for so long, and black people in Asian stores, Asian, basically nails, hair. And
they've been respecting us. They've been respecting us. How?
What do you mean? Black people don't do anything to demand respect.
Yeah, I asked you a question. You said that Asian females have been respecting us.
No, I
Third
said
time.
I said Asian people. Asian people as a collective, as a group, they have more money. They have more power.
Fourth time. Show me where Asians are respecting us in their stores, sir.
I said they're not respecting black people in their stores.
Okay.
They're not.
In that case, by your logic, they are deficient.
You're trying to just twist things around. I'm just saying that in order for black people to get respect, maybe helping these immigrant groups will help them obtain some respect.
Sir, we've already helped them for over half of a century.
You haven't really helped Asians. You really haven't helped Latinos. You haven't really.
Sir, we're the ones who got the laws changed so they can even
back
be
in the
here.
60s. Recently, black people in America have not done nothing.
Sir, that's like saying the Constitution, that doing that was a couple of 100 years ago. We did that. The lane is open and it stayed open. That is attributable to us.
Why don't black people show show that they have empathy, show that they try to obtain that respect?
Okay, we showed empathy to everybody else. Tell me where these other folks have shown empathy to us.
Black people haven't shown empathy towards no one. They're very ignorant. They don't practice group economics. They commit a lot of crimes.
Okay, well, how many crimes you've been committed? Other crimes against humanity, crimes against intelligence, crimes against IQ, crimes against dressing sensibly. What the hell is that hat on your head?
What are you talking about?
So
I'm just saying,
show me where these other people have shown us empathy, sir.
A whole lot, basically.
I said show me. Don't tell me a lot. Where?
Man, I'm done. Bye-bye.
Where have they shown us empathy? Where? Okay, he hung up right there. So y'all got to understand this. He's going to look for a white ass to kiss now. He's flustered. He's agitated. He was hoping to reinforce coonism. He got shut down. He tried to stand up and say about Asians. He didn't do the math. That's what happens when you don't do your homework. That's what happens when you don't do your homework. You call up, make a straight ass of yourself right there. So he was just hoping. Can we get together? We already together. Can you show some empathy right after y'all show some? We shown plenty. Where? Don't worry about that. Give it to me. So this one, gimme. Gimme. Y'all need to show Asians respect. Why? Because Asians have money. What the hell kind of hoe talk is that, y'all? He fresh off the boat from Nigeria. He talking about we need to show people respect, quote, because they got money. I'm so glad he was honest. At least he kept it a G about about his hoeing. Hey, if they got $1, it'll make him holler. That's all he needs to know. And I can see his ass somewhere shaving his legs, oiling himself up and swinging that booty meat. What? I can see him doing that. I can see him somewhere shaving his legs and oiling up, making sure he's nice and glossy, slipping on his G-string slingshot, and making them butt cheeks jiggle.
Nigga, what?
So I'm not gonna hate on his hoeing, but he let you know it's, hey, wait, but they got money though. So that's all he was asked what it was. They got money. That's how you gauge giving folk respect. He got $1. You better respect him. Like, okay, bruh. We cut totally, this is why you and us can't get along. We cut totally different from you. Somebody wave $1 at you, he start wiggling that booty meat. They wave $1 at him and he starts wiggling that booty meat. They wave it at us and we like, okay, I got a pocket full of dollars too. So what's this supposed to mean? That's not how you get respect from me. You don't get respect from me from waving $1. That's called business. I can do business with people I don't respect. I don't gauge you don't buy respect from me. Now in his house, respect is for buying rent. So he looking at us crazy. What wrong with them niggas? Y'all ain't jumping and can't you tell they got $1? He looking at us crazy. Let me go ahead and jump back over here on Zoom. Okay, I got iPhone here on Zoom. iPhone, what's your name?
Yeah, good afternoon. This is Linwood. I'm hearing your conversation, man, with the gentleman. I think both of you are incorrect because the people who are classified as Asian, the white people propped them up so they could undermine the Black civil rights movement here in the States. That's number one. Number two.
How is that incorrect from what I said, sir?
We're steered.
Okay, sir, I don't understand how that's incorrect from what I said. I don't know what you're talking about.
The gentleman that you recently having a discussion with, somebody called him a tether. Most of those Asian persons, when they came over, they had no money.
That's not true.
Banks gave them money. When banks would not give us a loan, they would give them a loan and then steer them into those localities where Black people were. They didn't want them operating where they got their loans from.
Okay, the government gave them assistance for the most part when they came over here, sir.
That's what I mean.
Okay, that's not a bank. That's the government.
Now, let me also say this too.
That's not a bank. That's the government. The government is an open-ended check. So a bank pays you one time. Government assistance is ongoing.
What I'm sort of kind of frustrated with this. It seems that the Black movement, like you, are mainly siding with the white supremacists. At the same time, you're trying to become this thought came to mind this afternoon.
I doubt it.
Black people, your type of Black people, what y'all want is to be the primary non-white group, and you don't want to lose that to other non-whites. So
you speak, sir. Speak for yourself.
Go after the other one.
Speak for yourself. You don't speak. You're not speaking for us. Speak for yourself.
If we want to, because you have.
Speak for yourself. You do not speak for the red with that recessive hairline. Speak for yourself. You do not speak for us. So the characterization that you're giving applies only to you. It does not apply to us. I don't see myself that way. I don't move that way. I don't operate that way. Obviously, the goal I'm going for isn't even compatible with what you just said, unless, of course, a person is just mentally and emotionally imbalanced. So what you're saying, whatever this MAGA stump speech is you got, this isn't actually a real thing. It's not a real thing. So you're ranting. I don't know. I'm sniffing Sambo juice here, but I don't know where this rambling came from, but this is not logical.
I'm just getting frustrated because I keep hearing a lot of this stuff about what we should be doing. And
okay, let's talk about the illegals. Tonight we're talking about the illegal aliens. So what do you think we should do about them?
Honestly, nothing.
Okay, then what are you talking about? You disagree with something, then you're just talking to be talking.
Well, I'm responding to the other gentleman that called in. That was the so-called tether. Responding to that comment. But we really don't. We didn't bring them here because we're not in power to bring them here. The white people brought them here, so that's the white people's problem. They should deal with that problem. If we were in power, it would have been solved a long time ago. But it's clearly they don't want this problem solved because both parties want possession. One wants to replenish their white population. The other wants an obedient primary new minority group. Give it to the blacks for the browns, or make the blacks the third place group. And there you go. And to me, I feel like, well, what are we doing here as black people? Are we going to get out of this two-party trap? Or we're going to go vote Republican? I mean, what the hell are you doing here?
Okay, sir, we're not going to vote. We're going to vote the same thing I've always said. Apparently, you're new around here. So when people ask me what we vote for, I'm voting for the same thing every time, black empowerment. I don't vote Democrat or Republican. I vote for black empowerment.
Jason, come on, brother. We know this. I mean, let's get logical here. We can be voting for black empowerment, but which candidate is running for black empowerment when the two parties don't even think about anything about
and there is the whole well, if you are resigning yourself to the two major political parties, my recommendation is when they put up a candidate who is for black empowerment, that's the one we go for. Until they do, I recommend you wait until they do. If they don't offer one, we got other stuff we're doing because we're not just sitting on our hands. We're not just relying on elections. So we're not just active every 4 years or every 2 years. We're active every day.
I agree with that. And I'm happy what you guys are doing, but I'm just frustrated because everybody's kind of pulling in different directions. And as Dr. Umar Johnson said,
that's not happening right now, sir. As a matter of fact, the whole reason they're fucking writing those articles is because obviously we're moving in one direction. So what you just said is not actually factually accurate.
Well, what I'm saying here is you got one segment that's the Dre and Reid segment. That segment is moving in one direction. And this so-called new black, whatever you call it, FBA, I just see it nothing more as divisive. And it's nothing, we're not getting anything done constructively that's going to replace the system with justice. How the hell can we sit here and be proud of being victims of racism and foundation of black Americans when we weren't thought of as Americans? How the hell we celebrate that? We're the most celebrating people of our victimization.
Okay, it's not about celebrating victimization. It's about acknowledging it because you cannot fix a problem if you are in denial of the problem that you have.
I've been wanting to get rid of this white supremacy problem for a long time.
Okay, but sir, the white supremacy is a problem because you're a victim of it. So it's like being an alcoholic. You can't cure your alcoholism until you first acknowledge you have a problem. And if you will not openly acknowledge what the problem is, then every day you're just getting up, ranting and raving, and you're not actually addressing the problem because you're in denial of what the problem is. The problem is we're victimized by white supremacy. Now, once you accept that, now your next steps will deal with the problem. You saying that there's no victimization never fixes anything because you're in denial of the problem you actually have.
Well, actually, I acknowledge that we're victimized by racism.
Then that's not celebrating it. Then that's acknowledging it, and now you can enact solutions to it.
But to call ourselves foundational Black Americans, we had nothing to do with being black. We are subjected to black classification.
Okay, sir. Okay, you can call it whatever name you want to call it. You can call it whatever you want to. Now, what are we going to do about white supremacy?
I walk with Mr. Fuller's code book. We need to get on a code and not an organization.
Okay, sir, we're on code. I don't know I asked you what you're going to do, and all you put Brother Neely Fuller's book. I'm going to ask again. So, what is it you're going to do about white supremacy?
Well, so far, I have failed, like you and everybody else has failed, because we're not as a collective. We're not organized around a code of conduct.
Okay, sir, what is your code of conduct that you think we all need to rally around?
One, let's get the conflicts stopped between black people. because we're constantly in conflict with each other.
Okay, who are the folk that you think are in conflict?
Calling other black people tethers.
Sounds like you took that real personal. Where are your folk from?
Like, come on, man.
Yeah, you took that really personal. You keep referencing it over and over again. So where are your people from? And don't lie.
Well, currently my people are enslaved in what is called the United States.
Okay, you took that tether thing way too personally.
Well,
so if you don't have the guts to stand up for where your people come from, that's part of the problem right there. We need to divide ourselves from folk who won't stand 10 toes down where they come from.
Why we're not going to get anywhere.
Sir, Donald Trump is the most divisive president we've ever had, and he's also the most empowered. You sound foolish.
Well, I think we're sounding foolish if we cannot even get this white supremacy out of.
Sir, if you have people who are dead weight, you need to divide yourself from dead weight.
Okay, and I'm agreeing with your statements.
You go.
I'm meeting you halfway. But
so we need to divide ourselves from dead weight.
So
we don't need to unite with dead weight. We need to divide ourselves from dead weight. And if the dead weight will not voluntarily separate itself, we need to involuntarily separate it.
So my question is, okay, we separate from the dead weight. Where are we at now?
We have folk like you who are very agitated because we have obviously made progress in separating ourselves from the dead weight, while you have admitted that you're a failure.
I said I failed to solve the race problem.
Okay, sir. No, you said you failed against white supremacy. Fortunately for us, you and us ain't the same.
So my question to you is, how have you countered it? And this is VGQ, Victims Guarantee Qualification.
Dude, making up your own acronyms died back with hammer pants.
That's in the word guide.
Sir, enacting acronyms died with hammer pants.
Okay. So my question is a VGQ because we're victims of this, so we're qualified to say how we want to approach it.
But you just said you're not a victim either, so you're all over the place.
I said I was a victim
until he's not, but he's not celebrating it. I'm a victim, but I'm not celebrating it. You're all over the place.
Oh, because then to celebrate, we haven't got the job done yet to celebrate. Let's get the job done before we start celebrating. Let's do that.
You're not capable of doing that, so what you need to do is just sit back and follow our lead.
Okay, what is your lead? I'm hearing. I'm listening.
Okay, sir. Right now, take a look at what I've been showing on the screen there. That's one of the accomplishments right there. The national narrative has changed. Dr. Claude Anderson warned us decades ago that the movement by the white government was to change the national conversation from black and white, from white and black to white and brown and yellow and everybody else. And what we have done is begin to shift the conversation back to where it originally was, despite their attempts to change the subject of discussion.
So black and white.
Putting the black back into it. The white society is the dominant society, and they said we're going to address everything except black folks' needs. And we said, yeah, to hell with that. And they are openly acknowledging that that is working.
So my mentality is this.
Oh, boy. Thank you for giving us a call, but not. Okay. This is the kind of nigga that'll babble for hours. I just wanted to go ahead and do that. By the way, if anybody wonder what it is, the national conversation has changed. Joe Biden said we need to get behind Latinos 4 years ago. Today, they're all asking, where the black folk at? Where the black folk at? They're asking where we are. That was the progress we made. That's our win. The national Dr. Claude Anderson warned us that they were changing the national conversation. I'm here to inform you we're changing it back, which was our goal all along, was to shift the conversation back that no, you will not overlook us, you will not ignore us, and you will not change the discussion. Period. Not going to occur at all. So yeah, that's what winning looks like. Winning looks like that. Let me go ahead and jump back over here on Zoom again. By the way, in the chat room, whoever Flynn is, tell Flynn he needs to call in on Zoom. So glad he's advertising. He needs to call in. Okay, Tyler, get your act together. What's on your mind?
Yes, sir. How you doing tonight, this evening, Brother Jason? It's a dark time. It's a scary time for our brown brothers, and I just wanted to give a little something in tribute to this serious situation, if I could, before I give just a couple quick comments.
Brother, you're slowing us down.
Oh, shit. Yes, sir. So anyway, I was gonna play Ice Ice Baby. Jason, in LA, hardware stores are struggling. We got empty parks. It's a tough situation. There was one thing that I saw in the news today that I definitely wanted to get out. There's an app called City Key in Chicago, and there's a lady who runs that in Chicago, and rather than give up the information, she shut down the City Key portal so that ICE couldn't get the immigrants' information. So there's something that I wanted to point out for that. We are United States citizens. If we go to DMV, we can't get an ID card in a day. For City Key, they had events that were in-person events where illegal immigrants would come in to these live events and within that very day get cut a physical ID card. So when you talk about they're not coming to this country, they're not just here without getting handouts or hand ups or whatever that is, they are definitely getting that, because in order to build this app, they had to build out the wireframe. They had to test, retest, redeploy, retest until they got a version that worked, because the information that they're working with is confidential. So when people are wondering why we as FBAs are not out there supporting, why we're not out there in the grind with them at these protests, it's because you've been siphoning off of us this entire time. You are fully aware that you come here and feed into a pipeline. And when we say, hey, you've got a pipeline. No, we don't. We don't get help. Okay, well, we've got something like City Key in Chicago where you're shutting it down rather than give up the information. What was that for? Why were you getting IDs same day and American citizens can't go to DMV and get an ID card, not a driver's license? You can't get an ID card in the same day. They were bending the rules to make sure that illegal immigrants could get their IDs so that they could get fed into the pipeline. So I just want to be clear that
no, look, I mean, what's been happening here, and it's across the country, the strategy that was enacted is they brought over people here from outside of our lineage, and they fast-tracked them to political positions. Those are their appointees. Those are their assistants, for the congressman and whatever, Brandon Johnson, Wes Moore. They didn't choose these people by accident. Barack Obama. We can go down the list. What we're finding out is that the whole point about the paperwork check was what we were discovering was the reason why you're voting for these so-called black politicians and the white supremacy rolls on is because these are their compromised Manchurian candidates. It's not accidental. They're doing the job they were brought here to do, and they're doing exactly what they were told to do and what they're supposed to do. Because if they weren't, they would have had them removed the first day. So they're doing exactly what they were told to do. Their job was to fly below the radar, and the scheme was supposed to be that we were going to just keep supporting them and couldn't figure out why it was that things weren't changing. That was supposed to be the strategy. Now the strategy is run aground. It's derailed. Folks are asking all kinds of questions, and it went bad quickly. Their crash dummies are going to be the ones who take it on the chin. But their job is to try to smuggle in as many as they can before that happens, for as long as they can. But when the heat comes down, it comes down on them. It comes down on Lori Lightfoot, not Rahm Emanuel. It comes down on Kamala Harris, not Nancy Pelosi. So that's the game that they're playing. It's strategic. They've been doing it for decades, and now what you're seeing is all their little sleeper cells have awakened. And they're all over the place. Ilhan Omar, you got folk who aren't even citizens on city councils out here. So yeah, that all of these sleeper cells that have been moving silently for decades and been walking among the society for decades, they've wormed their way into positions, and now they've activated them. They've activated them, and now you see them all over the place. That's the result of not asking questions. We're a little more direct and pointed, and we're asking some uncomfortable questions. And it's like, okay, so that's why it's not working.
No, it was very apparent that they aligned with the powers that be, with the status quo. In the 90s, we tried to, even in LA, we let them say nigga. Now there were those of us even back then who were like, nah, I'm not feeling that. And then some of us, were like, hey, let it ride. They're one of us. They're in our community. All of that. I remember I was living in South Central, and they have like relatives that come home, super late, so that they're not seen by the landlord. They leave before the sun comes up, right? And this is an everyday thing. And I was just at the barbershop today, and I was chopping up with my barber. I was like, yo, we know where they are. We know where they're stashing the illegals. We could, if you ask any African American, they could say, oh yeah, that's where they are. They're over there. But we don't snitch. We're not here trying to be evil people. But when they come and they grab your ass, that is on you. We're not telling them where you are. We know where you are. We know exactly where we are. We're not pointing you out. But once you got to handle your own business, you got to handle your own. I don't understand why they ever thought this wouldn't be used against them, right? They kept this one little thing about, okay, you can go and build. We'll get you the driver's license, but not the citizenship. And we told them, this is a setup, right? That they're going to stab you in the back. This is all they've ever done. This is all we've known them to do. They're going to stab you in the back. And they're still just like, nah, we're good. It's okay, amigo. We're good. And now, Jason, it's an absolutely different time.
Well, here's the thing, brother. The reason why they didn't suspect that was because that's not what they were told. I have to remind you all again, everybody and their mama talks about, the Mexican coyotes and drugs and the drug mules. But they don't acknowledge the fact that, by the way, they use the same thing for bringing illegals up here for labor. So when you see these folks on the farms and in the fields and whatnot, there's a coyote that work with those white men who own those farms. The white men had to go get a coyote to bring the labor up here. You tell them how many folk you need, what you need them for, how long you got to have them. So they're not up here by accident. It's the same pipeline that brings the drugs is the same one that brings the illegals. And when you realize that that's how it's being done, that that's really how it is, no, Jason's not exaggerating, that's literally what they're doing, well, then now it makes a lot more sense, because what they told them is, well, obviously, it's like, okay, well, you got folk here in the U.S. already. Why are you bringing me up here from Mexico? Why are you bringing me up here from Honduras? Why are you bringing me from Jamaica? Oh, because Americans are lazy. The black ones are lazy. So you're the good blacks. Them folk who out of slavery, the reason they were enslaved, they were lazy. Okay, but how are they lazy slaves? Don't worry about that, but you're not like them. And they all, oh yeah, I'm not like them. So that's the reason why when you started talking, it didn't make any impression. It didn't make an impression because the white folk who brought them over here and smuggled them over here told them, oh, you're the good ones. You're fine. We need more like you. This is exactly what we need to have. And they were like, oh, that's right. I'm good. I'm fine. And emoji like me. And they never saw the other fists coming. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We appreciate that. Let me go ahead and see if I can get Pat up here on Zoom. Let me go ahead and see if I can get Pat up here on Zoom. Where is Pat at? I'll give you a few more moments here. There you go. All right, Pat, what's on your mind?
Hey, thanks for taking my call, Jason. Everything you said, you've been totally on point. Literally everything. I'm from Chicago, and they had a protest today, and it's kind of wild. As the FBA, and just kind of speaking, hearing the last two callers, well, the brother who just called, he was on point, but to just kind of add on to what he's saying, they give them also like just additional benefits, like so far as TANF or food stamps or a link or anything like that. When it's interesting because when black women, who would need it in black men, when they go into like these public assistance areas, they give them a hard time. They scrutinize them. If the migrant come over or the illegal, and this is what we was fighting with Brandon Johnson about, they just was dumping them off in our neighborhoods. And so like, just say, for example, buildings within the Southwest, East and North side, they were closed down. He pretty much allowed them to go into these abandoned, so-called abandoned homes. And here was the play, Jason. Here's what they did. They gentrified the areas, right? The corporations or, others, who had the money, they brought the properties. They shut a lot of schools down. They filter, you shifted a lot of jobs. The black population in Chicago slowly dwindled, right? And then now, they was pretty much bringing the migrants in for over the past like 15 years. Just within the past 4 years, they were more so open about it. And then what they did on top of that, they tripled down. They told people, like, if they house migrants, or these illegals, that they gave them like 10 grand per person. And this is no lie. So it was happening.
No, that's been a big scam too. As a matter of fact, there's a big scam about, and I know about it. There's like hotels. The hotel scam was going for a while. That these folk, they own these properties and they reopen these abandoned hotels and they were getting paid for it. And in many cases, they're getting paid for folk who ain't even there. So you got folk paying them for illegals who are not even in the place, but they're writing a check anyway, and nobody's checking on that. So we can talk about waste, fraud, and abuse. But let's also be clear about something here. Mm-hmm. You can't deal with this situation until you take care of the white men who are powering it. Mm-hmm. J.B. Pritzker is part of Hyatt. So it doesn't, there's no mystery why he loves illegals. That's directly benefiting his business. I'm like, why are we bull jiving around? Because if black men were using illegal means of production to make money, they'd have been come and confiscated our stuff. They would have been exercised asset forfeiture. They would have said that alone, you're committing tax fraud because these folk are illegal. That alone would have justified them seizing our assets right there. I've said this now for years. Now that's the racist part of it is, wait a minute, if black folk were doing this, you would have seized all of our assets. You would have seized our hotels. You would have seized our cars. You would have taken all of that. If we had a farm, you would have seized the land, seized the tractors, seized the barns. You would have took all. They grabbed Omi in a Hellcat and took all of his cars in his mansion because he was selling broken fire sticks.
Yeah.
He was selling jailbroken fire sticks, and they came and grabbed everything he had. So I'm like, okay, if they were really serious about this, J.B. Pritzker, they would have been took all those hotels.
Yeah. And Jason, look, it actually happened though. And you speaking like, you speaking truth to a lot. It actually happened in Chicago. There was a gentleman by the name of Cecil Butler, a black man. He owned like all the high rises within North London. I mean, Cecil Butler was known throughout the city, and he hired. Look, he had illegal. He was trying to help out because remember he was here when Harold Washington was here when they kind of made the city sanctuary. So they was actually helping. Africans, Hispanics, and they flipped the script on them and they seized his properties. Look, it was so bad, Jason, they sold his shit for $1. Chicago had like to buy property for $1 and they let, Asians, whites, and Indians and all these other folk, and it's a corporation over here known for helping people. They let them come over there and seize all his properties or whatever. And so they took them, they renovated them, rented it out, and that's just pretty much what happened. And also to the brother who called here talking about like we're lazy, who's from Chicago, Lord, hope I never see him. It's one of them things. But I thought it was interesting because he's Nigerian, right? And he didn't bring up the fact that, while he was saying that we give money or we let people use us, but China damn near stealing land and they're seizing land within Africa. I'm like, dude, like, do you know the loans that you guys take from China to get bailed out for deficits? And then when they can't pay the loans back, they send the government over there to collect their damn land and their property. So I just thought it was foolish. And I appreciate what you do, bro. I did not know this network was around till like a year ago, and then I just been listening to you a lot. So keep up the good work, and we just gotta reach one and teach our own. So I appreciate you, Jason.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We appreciate that. Yeah, y'all, if they were really serious about this stuff, they would be seizing folks' assets left and right. If you got a hotel, if you got a farm, all these job sites, they would go and if we were doing that, they would have confiscated everything we had. They'd have been grabbed everything and been took it. So they know they're not serious about it. Let me go ahead and see if we can get Zoom user here. Zoom user, what's your name?
Rock Love from Chicago. Can you hear me okay, Jason?
Okay, what's that? What's your first name again?
Rock Love. I called.
Okay, Rock Love. What's on your mind, brother?
I'm from Chicago. Can you see me? I'm not.
Yes, sir. You're fine. I see you, brother. You representing South Side or West Side?
I'm on the north side.
Oh man, you up there with old Barrister?
Oh, and man, listen to me. That Barrister character, I'm surprised that you saw him. I mean, he's a real person. I thought he was a bot because he just spews the same BS. But I'm not gonna waste no time on that, Jason. First of all, excellent broadcast.
If you see a nigga with a fried chicken wing, cheese in his ass coming down the lakeshore, that's him.
Now listen, I'm so glad thank you, Jason, for this broadcast, and I'm so glad you let me in on this segment because there's so much to unpack here, especially me being from Chicago. Now the brother that said he was part of his family was from Panama, and his other family is foundational Black American descendants of American freedmen. I share that same lineage. My mother is from Panama. My dad is from Tennessee. Now, my grandmother, rather, and my grandparents, they waited 14 years to get into this country legally. Once they stepped foot on ground, they both had living wage jobs. Now, this is why he's right about, I don't know about all the other stuff that he was saying, but he's right about it's an insult to have somebody skip the line like that. Now, let me say that right there. Now, the other portion, and I don't know, I didn't hear you mention this yet, Jason, but this mass deportation, this benefits foundational Black Americans. And I think that it benefits us if we take advantage. And let me say this, there is a reason for us to protest. And I think there's only one reason to protest. And I didn't think this until I heard Donald Trump renege, sort of slide back. I don't know if you heard him say this, but he said that
he's starting to get wobbly about the farm workers and things. So between that and Israel, he's doing exactly what I predicted he would do. He's going to self-destruct himself.
And you've mentioned this for the last 10 years. I've been following you for at least 12, and you've always mentioned that it's a fake immigration deportation unless you go after the people that are hiring the illegal immigrants. Am I right or wrong?
Oh, absolutely.
Now watch this. So here's the thing. The only reason we should be protesting is that ICE is not moving fast enough. And we as foundational Black Americans need to have those farm jobs, hospitality jobs, delivery jobs, Uber. Because I don't know if you know, but the main job that these illegal immigrants have is Uber. And I'm confused. How do they have an Uber? Because Uber does a background check for 5 years. You
Brother,
gotta have
Uber is a criminal racket.
Right. You see what I mean?
Please remember Travis Kalanick. They had a program called Greyball, a computer program that was specifically set up to circumvent police and taxi cab enforcement of Uber, that getting money from Wall Street, brother. That's a criminal enterprise. If you and me did that, the Attorney General and the SEC would have been shut us down.
Right. Now watch this. So yes, Trump is moonwalking out of this situation, talking about we should let the people in the agricultural industry, they're getting hurt. So people that are working in the hotel industry and in the restaurant industry. And I'm like, what? Because here's the thing. No. If us as foundational Black American descendants of American freedmen are going to protest anything, it's y'all ain't moving fast enough. And hey, by the way, those jobs, we need those jobs to Black Americans first, with living wage adjustments, annual increases in wages, and cost of living adjustments. We need those jobs.
Brother, here's the thing. If you remove the illegals, that would just happen automatically, because the whole point of bringing in so many illegals is to suppress wages.
Exactly.
So if you clear that, if you stop that strategy right there, it actually fixes everything on its own.
Well, this is the only reason we should be out there protesting, and I would love for you to do a deep dive on that. Because let me tell you some sneaky stuff that DoorDash and the delivery people did. They must have had a heads up of what was going to happen, because I've been doing those gigs as an entrepreneur, and I'm sure a lot of people listening can attest to what I'm saying, is that used to be a very good job. All these Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, these used to be very good earning jobs for any entrepreneur before this influx of illegal immigration happened, where you could really stack your money. I've been listening to you and the business, and how you saying you got to stack up money, 6 months of wages, put it to the side. That was a gig to do that. Now, let me tell you what DoorDash and all of them did when they seen these illegals coming in, they started to lower the amount of money you make per delivery. And they also did, like DoorDash specifically, for instance, once these illegals started coming in, DoorDash used to have this policy where you have to accept 80% of the deliveries, right? You could turn down 20% of them. Now, any American citizen that knows the cost of living, we're not taking a delivery going 8 miles for $2. But you know who is? The illegal immigrants. They don't take every damn thing. And so what they did was they moved the goalpost to you have to accept 90% of your deliveries once they came in. Now, and they lowered the percentage for deliveries. I used to make $300, $400, $500 a day on my bike. And then when I was doing Lyft and Uber, 600, 700, 800. It's impossible to make that now because they've lowered the percentage of money that you're going to make per delivery. And they knew that they could do that because the illegals is going to take everything. If you driving somebody to the airport $5, they're going to take it. You see what I'm saying? It's that type of situation. So not only the agricultural industry, the hospitality industry, the restaurant industry, the Uber, Lyft, and food deliveries, they all need to be accountable for hiring these illegal immigrants. And I'm confused on how do they get Social Security numbers? How do they pass background checks?
They don't have any of that. That is for, brother, you can get in America today, I don't give a damn where you are in America today, you can get utilities turned on, no information, no nothing. If you got the money to pay for it, they'll turn it on. So background check, that's for you. Background check is for you. Driver's license is for you. All those legalities and regulations, that's for you. That's not for them.
Well, Jason, let me ask you this, because I think I know how they're doing it. I think they're giving them a tax ID number. You know what I'm saying?
No, I mean, they brother, once they get over here and got a work permit, I'm telling you that most likely that's what's happening. Here's the thing about it, though. I don't think it even gets that far along. I think that they're really just, everybody's got a wink, wink, nod, nod. Why is it? It doesn't have to be more complicated than that. Though those rules and regulations are for you, not for them. Those rules and regulations are for you. That's to keep a padlock on you. There's no rules for anybody else.
Right now, but listen now, the brother that called before, and he said that he enlightened me to something. That they're able to, Jason, if I go downtown and I lost my ID or my driver's license, I gotta pay $20, and they tell me we'll send you your ID or driver's license. They give you a temporary paper one, and then they say we're gonna send you your driver's license. It should arrive between 2 weeks and 2 months. That's what they say. So for the brother to let us know that these people can go to some little rally or whatever they have for illegals and get it in one day. This is treason on us. I mean, I would love for you to do a deep dive.
I mean, well, the people who are involved there are different. These are white businesses that want cheap labor and free labor. So the government responds to them. Dr. Claude Anderson's always taught us that. So with these folk are like, yep, this is the rule, except for what we looking for. And so you add in folk like Rahm Emanuel, Mayor Daley, at that Lori Lightfoot, Brandon Johnson. Of course, they're corrupt from the bottom to the top. And like Chicago, I mean, I don't want to bomb on Chicago, but y'all know it's true. Chicago, I've always said, I found out firsthand myself. I got shook down in Chicago. What? Yeah, I got shook down in Chicago at one of my own screenings up there. I'm gonna leave it at that. I got shook down. Okay, I'm like, well, they might as well say welcome to Chicago and pat these pockets down. Chicago is one of them places that is proud of how corrupt it is. You know,
we call Cook County Crook County.
Yeah, I mean, Chicago is one of those places where it's hard to deal with corruption because, I mean, since Al Capone, Chicago has just prided itself on how corrupt it is. That's what you're up against. So I'm like, when you realize that's like, nah, brother, it's really as serious as, yeah, they illegals. Oh, we give an exemption for illegals. The rules are for the rest of y'all. If they're illegal, they tell us they're illegal. Oh, you get exempted. Like out there in California, you got to have you have to have insurance to have a car unless you're illegals. The damn mayor, the
Exactly
damn sheriff
what the
in
same thing
LA
is.
said, nope, we're not going to impound cars of illegals. That would be a hardship. So it's a hardship for illegals, but it's not for you.
What can we do about it, Jason, in Chicago or anywhere else? Because it's bad out here.
I would love to tell you that people just jump up and do things spontaneously, but genuinely speaking, especially if they're in a situation where that's the culture of the place, usually it has to get so bad that people can't take it anymore, and then that becomes the only issue they're concerned about. Everything else gets cleared off the table, and I think you all are getting to that point now, but I will tell you one thing. Everywhere here in America where you all have an issue, and I understand it's not the easiest thing necessarily, but folks got to do that. Y'all, where's the Jason Black of Chicago? Where's the Jason Black of Pennsylvania? It's okay for me to do my YouTube program and talk to y'all nationally. That has a place in this world. But these are conversations that need to be happening locally. They need to be happening there. I don't know all the streets. I don't live there, so I can only give you when I come up through town and pop through and pop out. The folk who live there, I should be somebody who starts it, and then somebody else up there needs to be picking it up and taking it. And it's an unpaid position. It's volunteer. That's exactly what it is. You're not going to have a corporation paying you. It's not going to be a TV station. It's not going to be a radio station. The revolution will not be televised. But if Chicago cannot bring themselves to having this conversation with Chicago on Chicago's terms, I would tell you that nothing will change, but that's not true. Things will change. It'll get radically worse. And believe me, it can.
Well, I'm just going to end like I started, and then you can tell me what you think. I think that the only reason that Black people should be protesting is that ICE is not moving fast enough, and these jobs are not being given to primarily foundational Black Americans, but all American citizens with a living wage, cost of living adjustments, annual wage increases, health benefits, etc. across the board on all these industries that hire illegal immigrants. Thank you for the broadcast, Jason.
Thank you for giving us a call now. We appreciate that. Yeah, old Trump is between the rock and the hard place right now. I mean, nobody told him, hey, bro, when you do this, you got to be in to win it. You can't do half measures. Bro, you come out like this, you do something like this, ain't no backing out. When you go in, you got to go in all the way. You don't get to go halfway in and back out. You belong to the game now. That was what your base voted for. You turn back on this, that's it. MAGA collapses. You in it now, dude. You in it. You don't get to flip-flop on this. That's a wrap. It will be MAGA telling Letitia James and the rest of them to put Trump in prison. He'll lose all his support. It'll be his MAGA people saying, yeah, you know what? If you ain't going to get the job done, damn you can go to prison. It'll be them doing it. So, nah, bro, you don't get to back out of this. You belong to the game. You belong to the game. That's it. I want to thank everyone who's contributed to a nice program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo. Shout out here to Hydro Light in the Super Chat. Thank you very much for your support. To my man, Andre on Venmo, Carlette, Leroy, Nancy, thank you very much. Pamela Greer, and everybody else here, thank you very much for your support here tonight. We appreciate that. Let me see if I can get Marietta up here on Zoom. Let me see if I can grab Marietta up here on Zoom. Let's hope Marietta did not fall asleep. If they did, I'm going to have to keep it pushing. I can give Marietta a couple more moments here. I think they might have fallen asleep on this. So, Marietta, I'm looking for you here, ma'am. I can give you 5 more seconds, and then we got to move along. Okay, Marietta has been abducted. Not really sure what's happening there, but Marietta's been abducted. Okay, I got somebody here on Zoom. I need for you to go ahead and turn a light on for me. If you don't have a light on in 2 seconds, we're going to go ahead and move on without you. So you got 2 seconds to go ahead and do that. Without that, okay. You are having issues here, so out you go. I don't want you all to be confused about these things, and I want to, there's a reason why we check in every week. If we were making this up as we go along, it'd be a different story. We do this so that you can watch it, you can monitor it, you can see what's happening here, and you can have an honest assessment of where we stand. This is a national conversation that folks were telling us before. We just all lumped in with, quote, people of color, and we have distinguished ourselves to the point that everybody's asking where we at. I got a question. Why are they not asking where the Asians at? What? By the way, hey, if it's all about Asians now, why is it they're not asking where the Asians are at in Los Angeles? Why ain't nobody asking Kamala Harris? Why are they not asking where the Asians are? Why are they not telling the Asians about what they owe and what they need to do and model minority? Why isn't nobody sitting up here calling out the Asians? By the way, I thought that was the new wave and that was where all the energy was. Well, if that's where all the energy is, why are y'all not calling them? Hey, we're old hat, remember? We're out of style, remember? So if we're old hat and we're out of style and we're irrelevant, why is it you're not calling the Asians? Call them to show up for the protest. Write your articles about them. Tell Joy Reid and the rest of them to write their articles and post online about them. Why are you singling us out for special attention all of a sudden? Because when folks were handing out benefits, nobody was saying, now where the black folk at? What? Damn. Now when people were handing out benefits, you weren't asking where we were at. Now they handing out ass whoopings and you asking where the black folk at? Oh, no. Don't call us just because they handing out ass whoopings. When they're handing out benefits, you need to be writing articles saying, wait now, where the black folk at? When they're handing out benefits, you're supposed to be saying, wait, stop everything. If the black folk don't get something, we riot. Where the black folk at? Where are you to wag your fingers? Oh, they don't want us having this conversation. They don't want us having this. They do not want us having this discussion. This is not what they're looking for. They want us to be discussing something else and something totally different. They don't want us to be having a conversation with them about what's happening and what isn't here. Now, Marietta, make sure you have your camera and your microphone turned on for me here. Just make sure we don't have any trolling issues. Just want to make sure we don't have any problems. I'll give you 2 seconds, but we can't wait for you all evening here. So, okay, Marietta is shy, so we're going to let Marietta take the rest of the weekend off. Let me go ahead and get back over here on Zoom. I got somebody here on Zoom. I don't know why folks are calling me with their lights off, but I'll give you 2 seconds to get a light on for me. Otherwise, we got to go ahead and move on. So if you're auditioning for your OnlyFans or anything like that, this is not going to be the spot for it. So, okay, I got folks tonight. They're calling me incognito. So when y'all get to a place where you're a little, some of y'all are calling up and whatnot, and this is not the time to audition for your OnlyFans, for your Finsta. I'm not looking for that kind of energy. Folks are getting a lesson, y'all. Folks are getting a lesson. They thought it was the same old days, and I did tonight's program to make it clear to you. If you are expecting MSNBC to break into their regularly scheduled broadcasting and to tell you where the black folk at and that they were wrong for lying to you and claiming that they were going to change the national discussion, if you're waiting for them to say that, you going to be waiting a long damn time, because it's not in their interest to tell you the truth. But I'm stopping and pointing out to you all that, by the way, did you notice everybody's asking where we at? They're not asking where the Asians are. They're not asking where the Arabs are. They're not asking where the mixed kids are. They're not asking where LGBT is. What? Damn. They're not asking where all these other folk that when it's time to hand out benefits, they tell you that those are the only people that matter. They're not asking where any of those people are. Where's your newspaper headlines and your columns to say, hey, gays, y'all sitting this thing out. You need to be in the streets. Hey, Asians, what you mean this isn't your problem? We're just going to see about Asians. Where are the Asian writers? Where are the Asian columnists? Where are the Native Americans, the Latinos, the Middle Easterners, the biracials? Every time we have a conversation about black folk, they start interjecting everyone. Where are the feminists?
And deal with it.
Where are the feminists? Where are they asking about that? All of a sudden, the people that they've been telling are so irrelevant all this time. All of a sudden, we're the only ones they talking about. Sounds like somebody was trying to pull a scam and a con job all this time to fool you into believing that we were not still the center of the discussion. Yeah, we still are. What we not playing the game about anymore is playing this game that when it's time to discuss benefits and tangibles, all of a sudden we don't talk about black folk no more. We're only going to talk about the descendants of the slaves if we need something. When we need something, then we're going to talk about you. Other than that, man, we can't talk about you. So we're like, you know what? Let the man run wild. Let him do what he going to do. Since it's not necessary to talk about us when we came to you, let the man have you. Let him do what he going to do with you. We talk about reparations and you got Latinos in the California legislature talking about what we don't need and what we ain't supposed to get because, quote, they didn't do nothing to you. Well, we ain't got to do this, hit the streets. We ain't did nothing to you.
And deal with it, nigga.
Hey, baby. Okay, well, if you don't support reparations because you don't see why you should have to pay for nothing because you didn't do nothing. Well, we didn't do anything for the folks out there in the streets. We're not in the White House. So keep that energy. If the rule is, well, I'm not the one who caused this, so don't call me to fix it. All right. Well, you out here in the streets, black folk didn't cause this. Matter of fact, we're the only reasons you can be there. Even illegally. We didn't cause it. Don't call us to fix it. Since this is where we at, we told you what it was and you boldly got in our face talking about what does need to be done. Legit, keep that energy. They sitting up here calling us up. We like, oh, no. No, don't do that one. Don't do that one. Y'all, they ringing us up. It's going straight to voicemail. No call back, no text back. It's going straight to voicemail. We didn't cause the problem. Do not call us to fix it. Now, if you get more motivated about dealing with the problem we brought you, maybe we can work something out. Hey, y'all, if they can get motivated about dealing with the problem we brought to them, maybe we can work something out. Maybe we can work something out. Our immortal ancestor, Dr. John Henry Clark, told us about China coming into Africa, and he said that China should have as much access to Africa as Africa has access to China. As I gave you before with the analogy of the game theory and reciprocity, yeah, as long we're going to deal with you on the level you're dealing with us. If you are generous with us, we will be generous with you. If you are hostile to us, we're going to be hostile to you until you've rediscovered generosity. But this idea that we're generous to you and you treat us like trash, oh, no. No, we got to say it in the streets. We got to say it in the streets. So yeah, since the rule is, well, we didn't cause it, so why we got to help y'all get something that we didn't cause? Okay, well, hey, we didn't cause Trump to be on you. As a matter of fact, a bunch of y'all voted for it and got to roll with it for 4 more years. Damn. Oh man, and then got to roll like this for 4 more years. Oh man. I mean, came out the gate with a rough ride. It's going to be rough on you. Well, remember, every time we turn around, you're trying to show us that you can be disrespectful and you don't need us for nothing. I'm like, okay, well, they don't need us for nothing. They're out there in the streets, man. They grabbing every man, woman, and child. They're arresting folks by the hundreds. Oh, they're arresting them by the hundreds. The feds are stepping in. They're prosecuting. All they can get out there and do. This is not going to be George Floyd 2.0. It's not that kind of energy. This is not a righteous cause. It ain't going to be George Floyd 2.0. They grabbing folks. They snatching them up. It's a few folks in downtown Los Angeles. They grabbing them and snatching them up, and that's it. That's it. If you come out there now, it's like, yeah, we're going to come grab you. And if you're illegal, we're going to grab you and deport you. It's like, okay, thanks for bringing yourself out in the open. Makes life easier for us. You can get out there and protest if you want to. This is not going to be George Floyd 2.0. It's not going to be that. Not going to be that. And the Democrats can keep sitting up here trying to false flag there's somebody coming after us. Ain't a damn person coming after us. And there's nothing that they're going to do that they haven't already done. We already stood 10 toes down. There's nothing that they're going to try to do to us that they haven't already done. We've already suffered those things. You ain't going to scare us with our current state of being. We've already been targeted. We've already been disenfranchised. We've already had stuff stolen from us. And every time we talk to these other so-called minority groups who came up off of us, they tell us what we don't need. Asians are viable in America today. Chinese, Koreans, Vietnamese, Filipino, all of them are viable today because of us. Nobody else. They picked them up, they dropped them off over here and said, get it how you live. They are viable because of us. They were able to build an economy because of us. They have any possibility of standing on the soil because of us. They have upward mobility because of us. And that wasn't just a 1 or 2 year thing. It's been a sustained decades long program where they have had that because of us. And when we told them, okay, well, here's what we need, they told us, yeah, we don't support that. We looking out for us. And I'm like, okay, keep that energy. Keep that energy now. That's all we saying. Keep that energy. Now, I want to say a word to the diaspora. I want to say a word to that. I gotta say this, and I'm gonna say this straight up like it is. I respect riders. I respect people who take a stand. I respect people who 10 toes down. I don't respect people who run, and I don't respect people looking for other folks to fix their issue. You want to talk about they've collected up 2,500 Jamaicans. My question is, what the hell are you doing over here? How do you expect me to stand for you and you've abandoned the land of Garvey? Marcus Mosiah Garvey became an international icon and revered because he linked up with us and set foot on our soil here. Jamaica did not elevate him and does not elevate him today. How dare you be standing in North America while white people and Asians are making millions on Jamaican soil, and they will not even allow you to stand on the beach in America and in Jamaica with a popsicle stand. Don't believe me? Look it up on YouTube. They've done whole stories and documentaries about that. Jamaicans can't even stand on their own beach to do commerce. Carnival Cruises, Norwegian, all the big cruise ships, they got ports of call, making billions of dollars out of Jamaica, building resorts. And you got the nerve to be standing in America and think we're going to trust you to stand against white supremacy? And you ran so damn fast, your feet were smoking when you showed up here? What? You think we gonna count on you? Jamaica, as I've told you all before, is one of the most gorgeous places on this planet. All the females trying to make money, they wearing Jamaican bikini flags while they're standing in Brooklyn, standing in Miami, standing in Atlanta, standing in Los Angeles with their Jamaican bikini on. As if that's representing. Hell no, we don't respect you. Get back over there and show us that you respect where you come from. And if you gonna divorce yourself from Jamaica, divorce yourself all the damn way. But don't false flag, because the riders who are still staying over there in Jamaica and still pounding the pavement and making something out of it, you disgrace them. Take that damn bikini butt shaking flag off. You don't deserve to wear it. You're getting on Instagram and all you see Jamaica good for is to be sexually tantalizing, wearing a Jamaican flag on your butt cheeks. And meanwhile, you won't even stand on Jamaican soil. You standing over here with us talking about repping Jamaica. If you will not represent Jamaica in Jamaica, shut up about Jamaica. You want to rep Jamaica? You got to earn the right to do that. You don't get to rep Jamaica standing next to me in Dallas. Talking about how great Jamaica is and Jamaican restaurants. Rep the Jamaican restaurant in Jamaica. You want to talk about having some damn pride? You're still effectively a commonwealth of the British Empire. That's the mindset in Jamaica. We're over here in America talking about Jamaica for the Jamaicans, and the Jamaicans over there talking about, well, we international, man, and we, you cannot think like that. We do things here. I mean, and there's an Asian presence here, man. You don't understand. In Jamaica, we have an Asian lineage also in Jamaica, man. You don't understand here. You can't be closed-minded like you are back there in the States, man. It doesn't work that way. All right, fly it on your own, then. Fly it on your own. Bring over Kamala Harris and the rest of the damn there, because every time we talk about that, you all want to sit up here and lecture us about why it's legit for the East Indians to be in the West Indies. All right, I'm through talking. Get back over there and go tolerate what you done built or haven't. You got resorts, you got restaurants, you got natural resources, quiet as kept. You got the whole damn tourism industry. We've already been over this before when you talk about the square mileage of Jamaica. Black cities in America have a higher GDP than Jamaica does. Why the hell is that? Why are they not sitting down saying that's a problem? Hey, Jamaica, I can fix your damn problem for you. You got them folks sitting over there with their cruise ships and whatnot. You supposed to do like China does. You have a so-called black nation that can't even bring itself to do what China does. China lifted itself out of poverty by saying, if you want access to our market, you have to partner with us economically. You don't get over here and reduce us to your customers. You come over here to do business, you're going to have to partner with us. Carnival Cruise Lines. And here's the thing. If the company did not exist, the Chinese government created it. What? If you showed up in China to build cars, if you showed up in China to build tires, you had to partner with China. And if China did not have a company that does what you do, the government would get together and create that company. So if you couldn't tell them, well, y'all don't really have a company over here for us to partner with. Like, okay, we just got over here, these three dudes over here, Mr. Chang, Mr. Lee, Mr. Zim. Yeah, that's the company you'll be starting with. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Them three dudes right there, yeah, that's the company you gonna partner with. See you tomorrow. Today they're fishermen, tomorrow they'll be in the car business. And if you don't deal with them, you don't deal with nobody. In Jamaica, they should have told Carnival Cruises, Norwegian, Princess, Disney, any damn body who shows up, You cannot establish a port of call in Jamaica if you do not partner with a local Jamaican enterprise. You cannot come here or stop here if you don't. So that is a requisite of having rights to stop here. You can stop here if you partner with a local Jamaican business. You have to partner with them, and we'll be the ones who certify whether or not it's legit. You don't get to go make up one. We'll be the ones who tell you if it's a legit one. We'll tell you who you gonna partner with. Jason Black just explained to you all in less than 2 minutes how you can revitalize that whole damn thing, and you have a proof of concept. They did it in China. They did it in Saudi Arabia. They did when white folk went over there to Saudi Arabia and went over there to Iran. We've already covered that about Aramco, BP. They partnered with the Arabs for a while, and next thing you know, they run the damn thing. They partnered with the Persians. Mohammed Mossadegh nationalized the oil wells. Jamaicans are guests and tourists in their own damn country. And the reason for that is because it's very easy to get them to get up and run. They don't look at their beach and say, this is ours. Jamaicans do not look at their own beaches and say, this is ours. The spirit of Bookman Duddy is dead. And then you coming over here and want to sit up here and kill the spirit of Malcolm X and Dr. King and Fred Hampton. And then getting upset because we don't want to buy that. I'll be damned. I was born and raised in the state of Louisiana. We ain't got a beach to speak of. Hell, the whole damn, what we did have for a coastal line evaporates every year. Then you go to Jamaica, y'all actually got one and running from it? You actually got clear water and running from it? Talking about firing up a damn joint. You better fire up that nigga's ass. Got everybody else coming over there to make money, and then you said, no, well, you know, we can't do nothing there, man, you know. What the hell? What are you voting for? What are you supporting? And I see the folks who lead. No, that's what you're supporting. Y'all just need to say it like it is. Niggas get fat, they get prosperous, then they want to sit down. And when somebody else swoops in and takes all the resources, then they want to say we ain't got nothing. Jamaicans need to value what they got. Haitians need to value what they got. Dominicans need to value what they got. If the only thing you see your coastline is good for is shaking your butt cheeks for the gram, you missed the plot. Your nations are supposed to be sitting up here protecting your economy. If folks want to come build something, you tell them, yes, you can build it, but you have to partner with us. You're not going to come over here and economically rape us. You have to partner with us. And everybody's talking about how China today is so advanced, is making new technologies and outstripping other people. Yeah, because they didn't let other people come over there and reduce them to their servants and their customers. The whole plan was clear from the beginning. We're going to be running this before it's over. And that's how it's done. That's what you don't see happening in the Caribbean and Northern Africa and all these other places. And do not think to, and let me say this very, very clearly. I want to say this next part very clearly, and I probably should save this for tomorrow night, but you know what? The spirit struck me tonight. So let me go ahead and address this here. Don't think, I want to say this loud and clear to everyone. Don't think that you can come up to me and you're going to say Neely Fuller or Dr. Claude Anderson, and you're going to say something that conflicts with the way I've articulated things, and I'm going to sit up and say, well, you know what? I mean, let me backtrack on that. No. When Brother Neely Fuller was alive, I said I respect the compensatory code. I respect his work and what he's done. I don't agree with everything, and I will explain to you why. There are things I heard and saw I didn't agree with. That did not delegitimize Brother Fuller. I say again, that did not delegitimize him, but there were things that I took difference with. And I stand on that. I said it while he was alive. I say it again today. It does not disrespect him. It does not delegitimize him. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that that was the gospel and I stand by every word in there. I've never said that. So if you think you're going to jump up and you're going to pull out somebody's name, whoever that name is, and all of a sudden you think that's a trump card, you got another thought coming. If it conflicts with the agenda and the program as we've articulated it, I will take that as the opportunity to correct you. Because I don't deal in theory. I got to deal in practice. So when I tell you this is what works, that's because I've seen it in practice and I've put it into practice. I don't do the theory thing. So if I see or hear a theory that conflicts with the practice, I will take that as my opportunity to correct you. I want to see folks prosper, but they got to learn to do that. I want to see folk prosper, but then again, I want to see the people prosper who want to see me prosper. I have no interest in helping or seeing folks prosper who think that it's a negative if I prosper. I have no interest in supporting people who do not support the program. And I am not going to coddle victims of white supremacy who do not see themselves as victims of white supremacy. If you're a victim of white supremacy who doesn't see yourself as a victim of white supremacy, then you are not our brothers, you are collaborators. There's a word for victims of white supremacy who don't see themselves as victims and who cooperate with white supremacy. That word is not victim. That word is not brothers. That word is not sisters. That word is not confused. That word is collaborators. It doesn't matter that you were so dumb and empty lung-headed that you sold your soul to get nothing. The fact you were willing to sell it is all I need to know. You're a collaborator. And there's a way that we deal with collaborators. And it's not by coddling you. I'm not trying to reconcile with you. Hey, dumb nigga, we are here to divide. Y'all are being divisive. You damn right.
And deal with it, nigga.
You damn right. We are divisive. I explained it to his silly ass, and I'm explaining it to y'all too. Yeah, you damn right. I said this going on 2 decades ago. We are here to divide ourselves. Absolutely. We are dividing from the collaborators, the backstabbers, the dead weight. Yeah, we're cutting ourselves off from them. We're setting up walls to separate ourselves from them. They have been contaminated. They're working for the enemy. Yeah, we're building walls to keep you out. We are divided against you on account of the fact that you're collaborating with the other folk, which means you are one of the other folk. And that's law. That's never gonna change. That's law. You have to earn the right to be a part of this team. And you have to earn the right for us to be backup. You got folk who come from whole nations where white supremacy only rules between their ears. and they have had luminaries and icons who have touched the soil, and they've refused it? You have a situation that we've never had and haven't done a tenth with it what we've done, and you don't have a white supremacist government with miscegenation laws, segregation laws, apartheid laws, Jim Crow, redlining. You ain't got none of that? So you don't have any of that, and in the words of Ice Cube, white man just ruling. So you've never had segregation and Jim Crow and lynching and redlining and yeah, you did what? That sounds self-inflicted to me. So that everybody who's looking for us right now, what I'm saying is maybe, and the best thing to happen is for you to be back in Jamaica so you can start appreciating where you are. But if you lack character, I don't want you exporting that lack of character over here to us. If you refuse to cooperate and have a code in Jamaica, I don't want you over here practicing not having a code with us. Let you get back over there so you can learn some respect and learn some appreciation. And maybe if you got to sit there and be in the dirt long enough, you'll say, you know what? It's time for us to get fight and get free. And maybe then you'll understand that, by the way, it's a damn insult that you trying to get over here to America in the first damn place. You should be worshiping and appreciating where you are. The white folk do. The white folk appreciate the beaches in Mexico. The white folks appreciate the beaches in Jamaica, in Nassau, in the Bahamas. The white folk appreciate those beaches there. The folk who live there, taking it for granted. You ain't willing to fight for your beaches there. The white folk will send in the military in a heartbeat. Damn. By the way, you on Jamaican soil and ran. You wouldn't fight for the beaches you were born on. But the white folk, either from America or the British Commonwealth, now they'll come fight for the beaches of Jamaica. Oh, you're not gonna like this next thing I'm gonna say. If you're from one of those Caribbean island nations, whether it's Hispaniola or any of the others, if you ain't willing to fight for the beaches you were born on, but the white folk are willing to fight and die for those beaches, maybe you're letting the world know who should actually have it.
And deal with it.
If those Europeans are willing to fight and die for the beaches of the Caribbean, but the people in the Caribbean will not fight and die for their own beaches, that they'll fight and die to leave, that's just evolution now. I don't even know if we can call that white supremacy anymore, even though it is. But by the way, it's starting to sound like evolution. You don't see your beaches worth fighting over? We took to the streets in Watts. We took to the streets in Harlem. We took to the streets in New York. We took to the streets in Cleveland. We took to the streets in Detroit. We took to the streets in Chicago. We took to the streets in Shreveport. We took to the streets. We didn't sit up here and say, give me a damn boat to get on. I'm up out of here. We didn't look for another place to go. We stood and fought for the soil we were on. You don't have stories of mass migrations of us fleeing from where we are. We stood and fought for our soil. We didn't abandon it, and to this day, even the things that have been taken, We have made it our religious cause to fight and reclaim what has been taken from us here. We ain't let a thing go. You got folks, y'all just packed up and left and abandoned what you had in Jamaica. That tells us what you think of what you had. You didn't think nothing of it. Stop talking about you proud Jamaican, you standing over here. Obviously, you're not very proud of it if you're standing over here and Jamaica is still there. Think you're going to educate us. You ain't got nothing to teach us in that regard. We going to teach you. And when we get done, we're going to teach you about being proud of Jamaica. That's the example you can learn and will learn from us. You gonna learn pride and self-respect and being 10 toes down and that nobody respects you when you running. Your feet flapping like, damn me, the Fred Flintstone running through the house forever. No, we don't respect it. No, we don't. And you should be ashamed. You should be ashamed to see so many Europeans and Brits and Asians over there sitting on your birthright. And y'all don't have a code of conduct that says, yeah, well, here's what we're going to do. You don't have a code of conduct that says that. You got a problem. But don't come here and make it ours. You see us having respect from the soil, and then you're like, okay, let me collaborate with the white supremacists against y'all. Yeah, that's not what we own. That's not what we own at all. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight. I want to thank everyone who's contributed to a nice program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo. Thank you very much for your support here tonight. Najee, Snaps Bell, Bayou Billy in the Super Chat. Thank you very much for your support as well. And to everyone who's contributed to a nice program. If you are new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought. We do this every weekend, holidays, some days in between. Click that red subscribe button. Click that notification bell. Join us each and every time that we're here. If you haven't been to our website, blackchannelfilms.com, you want to check out our groundbreaking, best-selling documentary work, 7 a.m., Gentrified Race War, 8 a.m. I am currently in the process of signing the autographed DVDs for everyone there. I do the program where I name off everybody, so that one is coming there as well, but I'm doing this in stages. The DVDs have all come in. I got those. I got the Blu-rays. I posted those on Indiegogo for those of you who are still monitoring that there. Make sure, by the way, we've closed that, so all your information we're shipping out. So be looking for that here in the next couple of weeks. It is full speed ahead. Check with us here tomorrow night. We're going to have us a discussion about what I just talked about here. By the way, if these folks don't appreciate it, maybe they should just let the folks annex it. Wouldn't have to take to the streets anymore. We'll see about that conversation then. I want to thank all of you for tuning in to tonight's program, live or recorded. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, Black is the future, and the future is uncompromising.